Shalom, shalom, Mishpachah, shalom. Can I be heard tonight? Let me know if you can see me clear. If there's any types of drags in the system, can y'all hear me loud and clear? Okay, good, good, good. Shalom, Rebbe.
Hey, shalom, Moshe, brother Moshe. How are you? Can you see me also?
Yeah, I can see you.
Can everyone see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Can y'all see? Can y'all see me? Okay, good. Because I don't know. All right, all right, all right, all right.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom, shalom, family. Shalom, brother O'Shea, brother Yona. Shalom.
All right.
Great. It's good that y'all can see me. With these new systems, keep updating all the time. Yeah, that could be an issue. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Pray that the Most High is blessing you wherever you are, and thanking him for his love and his mercy, which truly endures forever. And tonight we are continuing our topic for discussion, which is child support part 2, and hopefully we can be able to glean some more things. I hope that you all enjoy the last one that was done, including the Shabbat class that was brought out. I hope everyone learned something and was able to apply that to your life. So again, shalom to the worldwide House of Israel, down in the Caribbean, shalom. In South and Central America, shalom to each and every one of you. To the Mishpachah right here in these divided states of America, shalom, shalom. To the families across the border in Canada, shalom to each and every one of you. In the UK, shalom. In Africa, brother Ken, I see you. Shalom, brother. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. Shalom to you all over there. Shalom to the families over in Europe, in the middle of the East, the Far East, and every island of the sea. We greet you all by saying shalom, shalom. So we're going to get started, family. I'm going to have Elder begin with a word of prayer, and let's get started. Hey, shalom, brother Scott. I tried reaching out to you. I tried calling the Bruce Wayne of Jamaica. I didn't get him at all. Shalom, brother. Shalom, shalom to you. All right, Elder. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. All praises to the Most High.
All right, all right.
All praises. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for sparing and protecting us during the hours of the day today, for taking us out, bring us home safely, for guiding and protect us in every way, Father. Without you, we couldn't make it and to be here tonight. So therefore, as we come before your presence, we thank you for all the blessings that you have given unto us. And as we come, Father, before your presence, we invite your presence in each and every one of our lives. We thank you for our families, our husbands, wives, children, everyone. We pray that thou may remember those that are sick, that thou may touch their bodies, those that have lost their loved ones, that thou may comfort them. We thank you for our teacher, Brother Yana. We pray thou may bless him, guide him and watch over him and provide for him. We present to you our teacher tonight, Brother O'Shea. We pray that thou may speak to him, through him and for him, and bless the words as he is going to share the words again tonight. Also, Brother Kifa as he's reading along with Brother O'Shea. We ask a blessing upon all three of them, that your name will be praised as we follow and listen and enjoy the service tonight. May you be with us and guide us from the beginning to the end, because we thank you through your Son Yeshua we pray. Amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you, Elder.
Welcome.
So, family, once again, we thank you all for being here. Before we get started, just a quick note about a little quick update about the efforts on the website. As you know, we were removed from YouTube. Now we're in Rumble. I still have a YouTube channel that is just shorts, 15 minutes the most. I've been trying to get the website up and running properly, and realize that as I'm making progress in one area, because I'm running some tests right now on certain things, some of the problems I'm facing is originally I've been having problems with the uploads to the website because for some reason the file format was having some issues. Like it's fine when I upload it on YouTube, when I do whatever with it, but for some reason this particular site has had some issues. Got that corrected to some degree, and now that I'm trying to get because this site in particular doesn't do like thumbnails like that. You got to do thumbnails, and then you got to put the video, and it's just crazy. But long story short, not going through all the technical stuff, I was able to find a way to get the video uploaded with a thumbnail type thing in it, and that was working. And then all of a sudden, when I started to progress to put the latest videos and then work my way back, as I'm going back to the videos that was uploaded, I realized that the audio is playing slow. So instead of like speaking normal the way that we are right now, it's going deep, And so I reached out to the customer service, and they're looking into it. I don't know what's going on, but as you all know very well, Satan is behind every single thing.
Yeah, the jiggling them
reasons. What is that, Brother Shay?
I said the jiggling them wires. AI is in control. So
yeah. So, and I thought long and hard. I received some links to different platforms, and I'm like, I've been there already. Yeah, I can go and register and sign up again, but then it might be a different problem. So why run away from this fight? This time I'm going to try my best to plant my feet down and see what I can get done. So please be patient. We're talking about hundreds of videos that has to be re-uploaded, and we want to do it properly. Now, I thought about cutting a lot of things out, but it says, nah, you know what? Let the spirit that was there at that time be manifest during that time. Just keep it just the way it was and get things going. So that's some of the challenges, family, that I'm facing. But nevertheless, I'm still on this thing, trying to get it done for the sake of the kingdom. So just be patient, and once everything's up and running, you'll have access to all the videos and to download and so forth and such like. Okay, but it's been worked on. It's been worked on. So getting back to tonight's topic, child support. Again, we realize as Israelites, we are suffering the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Whether people want to believe it or not, the church, when many of us were in a Christian church, no one could explain to us why we go through the things that we have been experiencing. And we can point the blame at the husbands, the wives, the men, the women. We can go back and forth, but the ones who really suffer the most is always going to be the children. They don't know what is going on. They don't have a clue of why families are divided. All they know is that they hurt. That's what this picture is all about. In this child's mind, he is seeing the arguments. He doesn't know the beginning of it, who's at fault. He doesn't care about all that. He just wants to have his family. And, we tend to create the monsters in a selfish way. We create the problem for the next generation. And we may think that we're not doing that, but the choices that we make as men and women, if you know someone is toxic, they're having problems or whatever the case may be, we got to step back and take a second look, because a lot of times what we are doing is that we are creating a seed of dysfunction. And the Most High is not about that. That's why he gave us laws and statutes. Now, with that said, we understand that we got to come back to the Torah, and we try our best to do that. But sometimes our partners, whether it's the husband, may be dragging his feet, or the wife may be dragging her feet. And sometimes we, in our own way, try to do things, but it doesn't work. We have to follow what the Most High said, whether you agree with it or not. You don't like what you don't like to be jabbed, right? You don't like to take certain medicines, whether it's diabetes or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes when you see those big horse pills that the doctors will give you, you're like, am I going to take this? How am I going to do this? I hate this. I hate the taste of it. Yes, we do. But we understand when the physician gives us a recommendation, and he says, listen, it's life or death right now. You want to lose a limb, you want to lose your kidney, you want to lose, and everybody knows they don't want to do that. Okay, so you follow the instructions with all diligence. Why is it when we're talking about the application of Elohim's word, the creator of heaven and earth, why are we so stubborn? What is the problem with us? That is the main issue. What is that problem? So we are addressing these things, and some will be offended, some may not be. Brother Shea got videos, we got scripture, we got things to look at. And again, one of the things that we will be talking about moving forward is going to be Mishpachah, family. We got to spend time understanding how the household was structured, why that is, what the scriptures are saying, and keep it moving. All right. So with that said, Brother Shea, turn it over to you. What you got for the family?
Yes, Mishpachah, yes. There's a lot of things that we see that the enemy himself has been cleverly destroying over the years, all of us. And like you mentioned, it's all about family. So these topics that we talk about is to rebuild, strengthen, and hopefully, support the Mishpachah in making proper decisions, better decisions, especially when it comes to Torah. So also I want to say tonight, when we go through the class, I will be opening the floor. So to hear from some brothers and some sisters, on their experiences and different things of that nature as we go through tonight's class. So we're going to continue on that. Shalom Kifa.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom Kifa.
Everyone out there.
Shalom right. Kifa.
Yes, yes.
All right, so we'll begin. Our first slide, we're going to have our first video for the night. We're going to start off with a video. We have some videos to cover. So we can get into some things tonight. All right, here we go. So let us know if you can be heard, Mishpachah, if there's any lags in the feed. You shouldn't have any issues with videos tonight. I have everything set. But just let us know if the volume is too low or too loud or whatnot, okay?
Just hearing the words child support sparks an emotional response in just about anyone. Fathers who feel like the rules are more about the paycheck than the parenting. Moms who say they can't live on what they have.
In general, I think the perception is that it's unfairly biased towards men in the state of Massachusetts.
I think that the formula used is fair. The law is reasonable. People have a responsibility to support their children.
I bring home $1,626 a week, and $350 go to child support.
Brian Ayer says $18,000 a year in child support for his infant son is too steep. At 29 years old, he says he had to move back in with his parents. He sees his son every other weekend.
Now imagine that. You have a man goes out, he has his own place, he has things going, but then you come to a point where you can't afford your own home anymore. Now you have to move back in with your parents. So you're at the point where you're paying.
Your volume dropped a little bit, Brother O'Shea, just to let you know. Sometimes, just to let you know what's happening. When you play the video, Zoom is kind of funny, and I think there have to be some adjustments. But when you play a video, it takes all the audio, and then when you start to speak, the volume it just drops. Okay, so maybe you got to look at the automatic. Let me see.
Can y'all hear me now, or is it still low?
It's better now.
Okay, so I guess I'll wait for.
Is yours set to automatically adjust the microphone volume?
Let's see.
Yeah, hopefully,
volume set. Nope. Let me see. It does not let me have that option. Let's see.
It's under microphone, just right after microphone.
Yeah, it's there. I see it, but it's not allowing me to highlight it.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense. All right, just continue because we can hear you now. You may want to keep your finger on your dial there. So as you speak, just turn it up a little bit and then turn it back down accordingly. Okay, so you gotta be a producer tonight.
All right. Well, that's part of the technical difficulties we have. But I was saying, Mishpaka, that imagine a person goes out and gets his own home, take care of his family, and he's to a point where now he has to move back in with his own parents because he's trying to take care of his children. It's just screwed up how the system is all messed up, and people are having a hard time already. Buying groceries, paying their bills, taking care of the basic needs, to have another problem added onto it.
And a couple of nights a week.
When I have my son, I still need to provide clothing for him. I still need to provide a crib. I need to provide food, diapers, whatever his necessities are when he's with his mother.
I went back to live with my parents. I had to, from a cost standpoint, until I could afford to live in a decent place. And then you feel kind of like a second-class citizen because your kids are coming to a small place after being at, mom's nice house. And
John Gagnon has been paying alimony and writing out child support checks for 11 years. He now pays $2,700 a month for his teenage daughter. He says she stays with him nearly half the time, and his 19-year-old son lived with him full-time before going off to college this fall. He feels the guidelines don't take into account how much time he spends with his kids.
It really didn't matter from a child support guideline standpoint if they had stayed one night a month or 0 nights. I would have paid the same then that I paid for 13 nights, having them 13 nights.
When it comes to paying child support, things used to be different in Massachusetts. 1987 is when the first guidelines came out. Judges had non-custodial parents pay a percentage of their income to the custodial parent. They adjusted for the custodial parent's income, but only after the first $20,000. In 2009, that all changed when a 12-member task force overhauled the state's child support guidelines. Then that task force traveled the state to educate judges. Now, using a worksheet, incomes from both parents are added together and worked into a formula. Judges also weigh how many children are involved and required expenses. In Massachusetts, that means mandated health insurance, child care, and housing costs. The guidelines also called for changing language. You won't hear the words custody or visitation any longer. Instead, it's parenting time. All of this meant to make the system fair for both parents.
We want kids to be well supported. We want kids to have enough support, but we don't want to create this huge windfall prize that creates conflict between the parents.
Dr. Ned Holstein is the founder of the fathers' rights group, Fathers and Families. He sat on the task force and says the system is still unfair. For instance, he says some states prorate support according to parenting time spent with the child. He also says judges in Massachusetts may order both child support and college expenses until age 23.
We have a long way to go.
Till age 23. Woo. Yeah, this is my volume back low or am I good?
No, you're good. You're
okay,
good.
Good. Yeah, you can see the madness in this first clip that we're looking at. You can see that when the system is interfering in the home, and it's not to say that a family doesn't need help or assistance in certain things, but what they're doing is they're willfully inserting themselves to have control. And as we go through the slides tonight and some other videos, we will see how the system has cunningly put themselves to destroy basically families and homes, especially Israelite families and homes. So let's finish this video here first.
But I think some of the worst thing is that there is a pervasive gender bias in family court. Men are still looked at as breadwinners and women are still looked at as nurturers of children.
Nothing could be further from the truth. We have 24 female judges on the probate court and we have 24 male judges on the probate court. And to suggest that everyone has grouped together and is biased against the fathers, it simply doesn't happen.
Attorney Marilyn Ryan also sat on the task force. She says the guidelines are meant to put balance into the system. Since nothing is perfect, she says judges are allowed to deviate from those guidelines.
If you have two parents who are each making $500 a week, and they pay the same amount for medical insurance, and there's no other adjustments. And the children principally reside with, let's say, mom. Then dad is going to be paying some money to mom for child support. The theory of that being that otherwise mom would be supporting herself and the children.
Do you think these guidelines are fair?
They are extremely fair.
Crystal Arnhold is a single mom who relies on her child support checks. She says she receives just under $250 a week to raise her 2-year-old son and her 5-year-old daughter with Down syndrome.
I work what I can, and I still just barely make it. Like this month alone,
Now, Ms. Picard, I know we've been learning about the families and the structure and the possibility of, say, having multiple mothers in the home or whatnot. But let's say that you had multiple mothers in the home. Do you think this would have the issues that they're having? Because look at this case, for example. She's saying she's a single mother, she's home, she have these children to deal with, so she can't do anything. So she relies on the child support check. Now, that could be understood because, yeah, you can't go out and work or get anything to help yourself. So therefore, you have to be home with the children. But let's say now she was able to work because she had someone there with her and you can tag team or whatnot. Do you see where I'm going with this? So kind of understand how the system is on one side telling you, let's not do this, but on this side, let's force you into doing this. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a good point that you bring. I think it should be really looked into, because even when you're filing your taxes, there's a number of flexibility that is allowed. If a person worked 2 different places, they will ask questions about if you're in a different country, whatever. So they will look at all that's happening, and then based on that, you get your tax results, whether you have to pay or not, or get something back, right? Mm-hmm. I think the problem is that they're not allowing flexibility. Like the word of the Most High, you can see the flexibility, meaning that if a man doesn't want to put himself in that situation, like with the levirate marriage, since you're talking about 2 moms, right? Like in the case of Ruth, when Naomi said, "Hey, Ruth, go talk to Boaz," and so forth. Boaz told Ruth, "Hey, let me go run through the procedures, right? The system, to make sure that I have access to you." And so the person who was closer to being married to her, next in kin, he forfeit that position. It's called a chalitza, right? He says, "I don't want, it's a package deal. You get the land, the land and the woman." And he says, "No, I don't want to go through that." So there are some things, and Boaz stepped up and he did what he had to do. So in Israel, we have servants, we have multiple wives or mothers in the house. You have the father and the son that lives close to each other, like in Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. They all shared the same space, same area. So the burden is not there like that. This world that we have right now forces people in these positions, and they don't have too much flexibility. So the ancient way of doing things was strong. The foundations, if I'm working hard, let's say that the Most High called me to be the beginning of a nation, and he gave me a little bit of wealth today, like in the case of Abraham. So I'm starting off now. My son, who was born in my household, doesn't leave me and go to some other country and start all over again. Whatever work that I put in today, I'm laying the foundation, I'm pouring the concrete so he can build on. Then he's going to be putting the first layer of brick, right? In other words, he's building on top of me. And then it continues on until we are a nation. And that's how it is. But if you take in a block, this is shoplifting. If that person, that son, leaves and goes somewhere else, then we will never be able to be strong because we are constantly breaking up families. And so the Roman system is based on building Rome, right? Like in America, it's not about building a family as an individual thing, right? It's all about one nation, not one family, no, not your family, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all, or something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem right there, Brother Shay.
Mm-hmm. Want some, Kiefer?
Yeah, a lot of the situations out there with men, as far as with dealing with the support system, it's a difficult one because there are many avenues in a court system that you still have to maneuver, and you will come to different blockades because of the compassionate side of the court towards the mother. I'm not saying that the mother shouldn't have compassion, but it should have some compassion on the father also, who's also working and trying to maintain and also do what needs to be done. The difficulty about that also is that during the tax time, as Rebbe was talking about, the man doesn't have that opportunity to claim the money that he's paying there on that as far as taxes. He still have to provide that part, but it's not as far as the tax part. The mother get that part as far as the taxes. Also with the children, also, they're not allowed to put them on their taxes. Now, some people may have different agreements, depends on the states, but Massachusetts is not one of those states that is very likely kind to the father in that sense.
Yep. And again, Mr. Baka, we're not referring to righteous mothers or sisters. We're talking about the wickedness this system has put out against our brothers and sisters in breaking up the homes. And this is one of the issues that we find ourselves in, is with the child support, how the system is designed to keep the father out the picture and to break the homes up, and the state takes custody or charge of the children, and many things happen. Is this a trickle effect all the way down that continues to keep destroying the homes?
Have like $29 to get food for the next 2 weeks.
Crystal works part-time at nights while her mom watches the kids, but money's tight. She says under the new guidelines, she stands to lose more because she's trying to work.
I'm not greedy by any means, and I want to make that perfectly clear. I just try to get for my kids what they need.
Ryan says he's working with the court system, but wants to see more changes.
The best interest of this child is to have a loving, caring home in both places where he's provided equally of both residents, not his mother's, not his father's, but equally among both.
He tells us he doesn't see himself leaving his parents' home anytime soon. So he's writing to his lawmakers to try to change what he believes is a system that's still broken. Sharman Sacchetti, Fox 25 News.
All right, so that's that first video that we can see when it comes to how this system continues to destroy the homes and keep the fathers down. So tonight we will continue this subject here, because we want to basically break it down so a lot of us can see how they're destroying the Israelite fathers, okay, how the homes are continue to be broken down through this child support system, okay. We will also look at Deuteronomy 28 and compare a few of these prophetical verses that show how these curses still exist, okay. Now, let's read this first one, Deuteronomy 28 and verses 23. I find this very interesting.
And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
Now, you can look at this in many aspects as you're trying to toil the earth and you're trying to do things, and things are going to be hard. But one of the things that kind of pop out to me is your heaven that is over your head shall be brass. And what popped up to me is the law enforcement, because it's like back then the badges were made of brass, and every time you're looking around, you're looking up to these law enforcement agencies that govern you, to try to tell you, hey, this is what you can and cannot do. And the earth that is under you shall be iron. You find yourself behind iron bars. in a concrete cell that is made of iron and concrete. So when you look at it, it's like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And this is called the child support system. You see how the guy is trying to run away, but he has this big ball and chain that's locked to his feet. And he has what little he have in his life, he's trying to run with. And that's basically how it is. So they're specifically targeting and designing this to keep the fathers in check and down. And we will look at a lot of things tonight. So again, what is the sole purpose of child support? I asked this last week, and I'm just going to refresh this one slide here. The whole purpose is of child support, or behind child support, is to do what? Support the child. That's basically what it is. And we talked about the parental support, the spiritual support, emotional support, and social support, in which these are the most 4 important steps that are majorly required before the financial part, because you can pay for something all day and that becomes something void. Nothing comes out of it. But if you as a parent take your time and you invest the structure and the discipline between a mother and a father into that child or children, and you also include, and we were talking about Israelite families here, we're not talking about worldwide, and you include the Torah, because this is the foundation of all our family building blocks, and you include that should be the main structure. And with that, the child gets all the emotional support and all the social support that they need to become better men and women as they're growing up, to make better decisions, to understand life, to function better, to go through society and to survive out there in the crazy world that we live in. But what happens is you create dysfunctional children, and therefore the society continues to be dysfunctional, because you don't have, both parents in the home. You have the mother against the father, the children against the parents, and it's just all haywire.
Hey, brother Shay, real quick. Can you imagine that in the case of a father who is already subjugated to these laws, right, where he doesn't have access to his child like he would want to, and then on top of that, his child goes to school, right? So his child spends the time in school, spend times with mama, but you're paying for all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize how tragic that is. You are spending the monies necessary, and they call for the adults, they call it alimony. I call it all the money. Mm-hmm. Call it alimony. It's all the money. Just give it out. So it's adult child support, basically. Nobody knows exactly why the family's broken, but so you have this father who barely sees that child. You know what I mean? What is he getting out of it? And sometimes, many of y'all can come in and talk about it too. It's no problem. Mm-hmm. But in many cases, when that child grows up, that child curses the father. In many cases,
yeah,
the father's the one who, after everything, he's the one that gets cursed out. Now, it does happen to sometimes both parents. It depends on the situation, but and I'm telling you this from a vantage point of working with the child support section of payroll for many years, and seeing who has to pay, and a lot of most of the people are Israelites.
Yeah,
most of them are Israelites.
And that's what I'm trying to help everyone to understand, that the system is rigged against the children of Israel. The numbers add up against us. And again, we're looking at the unrighteousness that's been happening for years, generations, and not understanding that this whole thing is geared towards us for one reason. And we're going to find out what our reason is tonight. Arkifa, read that for me, child support.
Child support or child maintenance is an ongoing periodic payment.
See, so they're telling you it's an ongoing periodic payment. So even though they try to put the word periodic there to say at times, but it's always ongoing. It's like there is no end in sight. It's like you're like, man, even if the child dies, you still pay. And that is very sickening still. Continue.
Made by a parent for the financial benefit of a child, state, or parent, caregiver, guardian, following the end of a marriage or other similar relationship. Child maintenance is paid directly or indirectly by an obligator to an obligatee for the care and support of children of a relationship that has been terminated or in some cases never existed. Often, the obligor is a non-custodial parent. The obligee is typically a custodial parent, a caregiver, or a guardian.
Mm-hmm. See, so they're basically pointing out to tell you that this stuff is a continued stuff until you pay everything off, or if the child, is deceased, in to some degree. All right, Deuteronomy 28 verses 16 and verse 17.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So no matter where you go, Mishpachah, if you live anywhere in this world, I'm talking America, I'm talking about worldwide, global, every landmass that you find yourself on, an Israelite, as long as you are of the seed of Israel and you're not keeping the commandments, the Most High says, cursed you will be in the city and cursed you will be in the field. And that's both on whatever levels, big jobs, companies, small jobs, poor, rich, bond, free, doesn't matter. Verse 17.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
So no matter what, if you try to own a little something, every time you make some type of income, that income goes. It's just all you're doing is just becoming a person that's participating in the transfer. The money comes, you take it, you just give it to the next person, and that's all you're doing. It's just going from left. It's like a belt,
conveyor.
A conveyor belt, and all you're doing is just you work 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours. And the money come like this, and you just pass it on.
Transfer station.
Transfer.
Most of our men are. This is why a lot of them ends up in jail for either not paying or for just breaking down and fighting and doing something that is not fitting, right? It's like we are the males are targets as when heading to school, right? As an early age, we are targets as enemy to society. When we get into a relationship, we end up having problems, as the scripture says, we're a menace to society, right? That time.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of circumstances, it's like we remain in that state, right? And this is a very sad thing. I have a question. I don't know if any a brethren can answer this, that who lives like overseas. Forget about England, because I know England is no different from here when it comes to some of these issues. But what about some places like in Africa? Is there the same kind of issue with fathers being forced without any type of leeway, any type of balance, I would say, in his favor?
I want to hear from some of the brothers and sisters too, but I'm going to cover that in another slide too. But just to answer the question, as long as you are in a system or connected to some sort of government system, they will definitely ding you. So I'll answer it in that way. But let me hear from any brothers or sisters. If you want to say anything, just raise your hand in the chat. Rebbe will bring you in. So just raise your hand and we can bring you in.
Yeah, because we don't want the conversation to always seem like we're here in America, right? So these things are affecting us here, but we don't know to what extent it may be happening to your neck of the woods, right? So we got a hand raised, Brother Shea.
Yeah, I
Brother.
see.
Okay, let me get Brother Gerald here.
So again, as long as you're connected to the system, yes. But a lot of times, in certain foreign countries, whoever's not attached to the system there, they have a little leeway of being under the radar. But as anytime you're connected to that government system, they're going to find you.
All right, Brother Gerald, you can unmute your mic and
Hello, Brother Gerald.
Hey, shalom, Rebbe, shalom, Brother O'Shea.
Shalom.
Yes, sir. I mean, this particular topic, it hits near and dear to me. For the simple fact, I had my first child at 17, my second one at 18, and my third one at 19. So as we know, yeah, it's just I was just so young out there, no father, not a great relationship with my mother. And yeah, the streets raised me literally. So I found a lot of things out the hard way in life. And yeah, at the age of 40, just made 40 this year, and I'm still going through it, still fighting this system. And I'm still trying to encourage any young brothers to not make them same mistakes that I did. But you know, at the age of 17, 18, if you don't know what love looks like, you'll fall for anything that, you know, someone says that I love you, you know. And so I just made bad decisions. But the story that I wanted to share was just how the system was I had got hurt 2 years ago, driving 18 wheelers. I was over the road and I was in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and I was happening to get down off my rig to get at a diesel pump, and I missed the last step. By me missing that last step, it changed my whole life because I had 4 displaced fractures from that ordeal. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. Ambulance had to come to the gas station, pick me up, take me to the hospital. Mind you, I'm from Texas, and I'm in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So when that happened, I was hurt. I got flown back to Texas, and that's when the fun started. When I was here in Texas, because it took me a whole year to heal, and also go through physical therapy. I also learned how to walk all over again, but I had a surprise waiting for me when I did learn how to walk all over again. I got locked up and I was driving. I was just driving to the store, driving to the store, got locked up. They pulled me over. They said I had a CAPIS warrant out for family court for child support. And yeah, man, I got locked up. I had to literally pay for my freedom. I spent 16 days in jail, Harris County Jail. My wife had to get a whole lawyer out. I had to bring my medical records out and to prove to them and show them that, you know, that I was injured. That's the reason why I was delinquent on my payments. But even on top of that, between the lawyer fees, court costs, and mind you, I'm not even working at this time. I still had to come up with roughly about $3,500 to get out of jail. So one thing I will say is man, my heart really goes out to the ones that made these bad decisions. And of course every child is a blessing. But when you're ignorant to the age of 17 and 18 and you don't know what you're doing, you know, you don't really know what you're setting yourself up for. So going through that whole ordeal, mind you, on top of that, my wife was 4 months pregnant at this time, our first child together. And so only thing in my head, of course, I can handle what's going on in jail. I can handle it. But it's just me seeing my wife going through her first pregnancy by herself that ate me up more than anything.
Yeah.
So I was willing to pay anything and to do anything to get out so I can be with her and you know, and make this wrong or right. The one thing I will say is I never forget the judge that I had, the look that he had on his face, like he can care less about anything I was going through. He can care less about my problems or my situation. You know, he was letting me know that he was doing me a favor of letting me out. And he told me if he ever see me again, he said, you're going to do 180 days. If I ever see you in here again, mind you, I'm not a criminal. That's the only time I ever been locked up in my life was behind child support. Only time I ever been locked up in my life. So, man, this system is crooked. It's no good, and my hat goes off to anybody that's fighting this ordeal. Oh, I can't even forget about the 75-year-old man that I was locked up with, and I was pushing his wheelchair from the county jail to the courthouse or whatever. Man can't even walk. Man was in there crying, telling him, man, these youngsters is still in my commissary. They beat me up and everything. The baby mama came and said that he living good. He got a fence built around his house, and she want more child support. When I tell you, when that judge sent him right back to jail after him being in there 3 months already, and he sent him right back to jail, I knew that, yeah, it's no rules to this game, you know, and it's a dirty, dirty, dirty game, and it keeps a lot of people under. So, man, for everybody stay encouraged. I just want to say that. The Most High is still in control. I just want to share my little story. But yes, sir, thank you. I appreciate it.
Brother Gerald, before you go, brother, you know, last week, Brother Shade played some video showing how they can track you from your phone. They can tell, you know, pretty much what's going on with you so they can get that money, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
The system, right? So how come they couldn't track your information that you were injured, right? So that they can have balance to see that this guy was injured and this is the reasons why things went sideways. How come they couldn't pull that information? And my answer to that is because they don't want an excuse. They want the money regardless. It's a hostage. This is and the mere fact that you had to pay the money is trying to buy yourself out of slavery. That's what it is. Because remember, brothers and sisters, right? The prison system is a slave system, right? Industrial slavery. Everybody knows this, right? It's designed specifically to make money. You got private people who have invested, they control, they look forward to the numbers. They need that. So, brother, again, I'm sorry that you had to go through this. And you know what, too? I must say this about your wife. A lot of times, if you don't have a good woman on your side, she would look at you like it's your fault, right? Why are you doing this to me? It's your fault. If you didn't do this, and so she might even walk away. And then now you have another on top of that of your past, right?
Yes.
But if you have a good woman, she will say like, no, I know who I have, right? And I'm going to stick by him until he gets out. And I'm going to try my best to help him. And I know how you feel about fighting that fight and says, I don't care. I'm going to pay whatever it is to get out. But a lot of times women who are weak in their minds and spirit, they will do you dirty in that too.
Yes.
And this is why, Mishpachah,
thank you, Brother Gerald.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Right.
Yeah, this is why, Mishpachah, we have to stay in the Torah because of these very problems that we find ourselves in. You know, to all the young brothers out there, young men, and especially the young women too, when this class is going on, other classes, pay attention and listen because this is experience that is being passed on so you won't make the same mistakes that a lot of us are making. And a lot of the brothers that may talk tonight, we all have our own problems in this same system. However, even though it's unique, it's all tied to the same thing. And we all experience the same exact things. And don't feel like because you got arrested, you're a criminal. because we will always be targeted as criminals. All Abraham was thrown in jail, Moses was thrown in jail, Yeshua was thrown in jail. The list goes on. As long as you're keeping this Torah, and I'm talking about righteous men here, I'm not talking about people who actually go out there and commit crimes. I'm talking about brothers and sometimes sisters too who are stand up for righteousness. When you go against the system, you will become a target. Yes, Keith, and then we're going to move on. And I think
we got a few
more hands. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Some sisters get affected with this also. Sometimes they marry a brother that is going through these issues with child support, and she gets married to him, or she gets tied in with him in his name and different things, and then they'll either take or levy her income or her tax returns or anything. So this is not an easy road or easy walk. Yeah. I've heard it happen to other people before, and sometimes it's a difficulty.
Yeah, that's right. They would levy the sisters or the wife's stuff too. That has nothing to do with it. We have two hands, and then we're going to move on, and then I'll take some folks after. So
yeah, Brother Jag, go ahead.
Peace, family. Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Shalom.
Shalom. Peace, everybody. Yeah, man, I understand what y'all talking about, man. This is a real class, and this, it's good to talk about. Yeah, I'm on child support too and stuff like that. My daughter live in New York. I was living in New York when she was born. And when I moved from New York, because, me and my baby mama got in or whatever, well, I had to leave because of her or whatever. But overall, the reason why I was on child support is because I think that she reached out. I think that she wanted to get like maybe food stamps or some type of help from the welfare to try to get them to help her pay her rent or whatever. And the way that they found me is through the Social Security number, basically. So if you're not living with the child or whatever, I don't care where you at in the world. Once when they find your Social Security number or whatever you working at, they're going to come after you. So I had to go back to New York to the court system or whatever, and they put me on child support and stuff like that. So yeah, that stuff is real. All they need is just a Social Security number, man. So I just say this or whatever, because I think I have to pay child support until Jada like 21. She's 16 now. And all I got to say is if the Lord bless me with more children or whatever, everything that y'all spoke about, pastime or whatever, get the land, live a shalom life, and forget the system. Like homeschool your children and stay away from the world. That's just the realest that it can just get. Like it's just an entrapment, man. It's on us. So everything y'all saying is basically 100% real. So the court system is dirty, man. They all about money. That's why the Lord say, hey, you can't serve God or money. Choose one. Choose one side. So the righteous will always be targeted, man. And that's just the way that it is. A messed up system. But hey, you just got to fight it through. I'm in North Carolina. My daughter stay in New York, so I travel back and forth, but that's just the way it is. And my baby mama, she even tried to tell them, like, he don't need to be on child support because he take care of Jada. Like, but it's still, like, they still won't let it go off only because she received public assistance before. So that's just intact until she, 21 or whatever. But next time, hey, it's just like, get the land, stay away from the system, homeschool your kids, and just keep it moving. That's just the realest as it can get, like real talk. So
thank you. Well, just a quick note. Thank you so much, brother. We don't have Israelites don't have kids. We have children. Brother Cannon, Brother Cannon, you're up next, and then we're gonna move on. Brother Shea got other slides. We'll take some more hands a little bit later.
Yeah, before Brother Yohanan go ahead, this is why we try to push the shalom life and coming out of the system. Because imagine, Mishpachah, if we came together as families, and this is real talk. I'm not talking about wanting a dream. I'm talking about actually living Torah. And you have families together. You can help each family out by the barter system, growing your own stuff, and every individual putting in the work, because it's like a body. no one of us is going to be rich unless the Most High say, I'm going to bless this person, is going to bless the family or whatnot. We're all basically living from paycheck to paycheck, or, by whatever means that we survive to take care of the necessary bills, food, or whatnot. But the minute that we say we're going to go, like the brother said, and we mentioned this in class last week, the minute you say, I need assistance from the government, they're going to come looking for you. Because again, as long as you have connected to the Social Security, and as we go through the slides tonight, you're going to see some more stuff that I'm going to show you. They're going to put you on that stuff because they want money. And they tell you it's not about the child, it's not about the parents, it's about the money coming into the system. They'll tell you that.
That's it.
That's all it is about.
Because the system really don't care about you in that process. I mean, it's if you know all the what they call pork, or all the different things that this whole support system is connected to, you'll probably get a headache. But as Rebbe and O'Shea has spoken about, Shalom lifestyle is the way to go. Especially with these trying times we have, not knowing when the next pandemic is going to happen, or whatever, or when the next blackout is going to happen, or when the next food shortage is going to happen, or whatever is going on in New Jersey and New York. When you're living in these cities, you're tied into a lot more headaches than you are when you're into the lifestyle that is told by the Torah, by the Most High, for us to follow.
And real quick, Brother Yohanan, before you come on, it may seem hard, Mishpachah, to make the necessary moves, but when you start to put your foot down and say, Most High, this is what I would like to do, this is what I want to serve you in righteousness, help me get to this point, he's going to start opening doors. The problem is, a lot of us, the doors that are open, we don't like those doors. We want to do other things according to our time. So we have to be patient with the Most High, and we have to understand that he's going to make a way for us to get to the point where we can serve him, and he can seal us and protect us from the wickedness that's out there. All right, but Brother Yohanan, talk to us.
Shalom, family. Shalom.
Shalom.
My situation was the woman that I had my oldest child with. We dated for a very, very short time. I say at the most 3 months, and we didn't mess around very much either. So when I found out about him, he was like almost 2 years old, and I hadn't talked to her in about 2 years. So I got a phone call at my job, and they were like, "Hey, Mrs. Such and Such is calling about your son," and I'm like joking around. I'm like, I don't have any kids. Well, anyway, I found out he was my kid. Excuse me, he was my child. Sorry, and so we went down for child support, and she had another child. She had another man's name on a birth certificate. They didn't take it into account. I mean, it just went in, and it was like I was a criminal, and I had been trying to run away from the situation, but that wasn't the case. She told another man it was his, and so eventually got put on child support. And I think the main issue that I had is, excuse me, is she and I had messed around for such a short amount of time. We really didn't know one another. And so I had married and had other kids, and the child support wouldn't take that into account. It was like, to be damned, the other kids, we're going to,
child support shouldn't be coming after you, brother, because, children and kids are two different things. So.
Right. I got you. But what I'm saying is, they were going to get the money for the child, irregardless of me having any other children. And so eventually I wound up when I found out what to do, is I wound up getting full custody of him from from the middle of his 6th grade year until he graduated high school. And the mother took me through hell, but eventually, we had the child support stopped, but I still had to pay an arrears when I had lost the job for a little while. But the difficult part was, early on, and even most of the time, I couldn't get help. No matter what the situation was, I was always looked at as a criminal and couldn't get any help. So all I'll say is all blessings that, the situation changed and I was able to get custody. So I always told people, if you're going through a situation like that, try to get as much parenting time as possible. So that's what helped me get through the situation. Thank you for listening to me.
Amen, brother. Amen. Hang in there, man. Remember, anytime you got these problems, read Psalm 64, verse 2.
All right, so look at this picture, Mr. Carr. Let's look at this clip here. You all remember this right here? This is when they put it into law that it will be tracked. You will be tracked because of this. Every time you say, I need help, let me get some medical care, or let me get some food stamps, EBT if you want to call it that, or let me get some housing assistance. This gentleman right here that's signing this paperwork here with our sisters around, if you notice, right? They have no other nationality around it. This lady back here actually works for them. But they show our people because they know that we are the target. Okay? Now let's look at this second video here. Minimize that a minute. And this continues from last week's video here. This is the second part to it. All right. This is what this gentleman has to say. He's going to continue.
We then talked about a second competing method for studying the costs of raising children called the income equivalence, or IE method. The IE method is used by a private consulting firm that advises many of the states regarding child support levels.
They measure the welfare of the household in terms of the proportion spent on alternatively food or adult clothing. And then it tries to ask whether or not in the presence of the child, you spent less on adult clothing or food than you did otherwise.
Sound complicated? Well, that's because it is. Let us try to explain the convoluted approach taken by the IE method. The IE method assumes that fewer dollars are spent on adult food and adult clothing so that money could be made available for the needs of the children. The method then assumes that a similar shifting of expenses will occur in other cost categories as well, such as for transportation and housing costs. But the IE method does not measure those shifting expenses directly. Instead, it makes the questionable assumption that parents will give up the same proportion or percentage of their income in other expense categories as they did for adult food and clothing. So it multiplies that same percentage times the family's other expenses to compute a synthetic amount. It then assumes that a custodial parent would need this synthetic amount in order to raise children under a lifestyle that also affords that custodial parent all the things they enjoyed prior to having children.
They're trying to assign a value to keeping the old lifestyle, even though you're living with a child and you don't follow the old lifestyle.
You may not even want the old
lifestyle. And
lifestyle.
you may not even want, that's exactly right. You may not even want the old lifestyle, but that's not taken into account in these other methods. It's a bizarre.
You see, Mr. Prakash? So they're telling you they don't care. All they want is their money. So if we learn anything tonight, we know they are all about the money. It has nothing to do with the welfare of the child or how the parents are, making it from day to day. It's all about filling a quota. This is what we put out. We want that back.
Approach.
Real quick. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
This is why it's important for us to really analyze ourselves before going into a relationship, because this seems like if you were a player before, if you had a certain lavish lifestyle, that history is going to take it into account to determine your future, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your financial past is going to determine your future financial future. So if you diminish in your income, and that's what the guys are trying to say, because now whatever you did in the past, you kind of sacrifice that so you can be able to pour that into your child. But now the government is saying, okay, we saw you left the past behind, but since you were able to do that back then, we're going to add that your past. It's that same type of accounting that I had to experience when I was learning that thing, that extra ledger, right? That extra, passage there, that, ledger, is supposed to be added into this other line over here. And so it just doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is.
Unjust weights and measures.
Dr. Commodore, for some examples of what types of hypothetical reductions in the standard of living might be computed in the IE method's synthetic amount.
food costs are often restaurant meals out. And some people want to have very high fashion clothing and some do not. We all know that once you have a child, your whole life changes and you have focus on your children in a way that you never did before. But the methodology used in this IE method ignores that reality.
Does the IE method measure the value to parents of having a child?
No, it doesn't.
I've read that some of these IE methods actually measure the amount of tobacco and alcohol consumed by the adults.
Yes, they do. Isn't that bizarre? And yet that approach is the dominant approach used today by which child support guideline amounts are determined.
Why?
The reason is because
so you don't drink or smoke, you're getting charged by these guidelines. That's basically what he's saying, because other people do it.
When the states got into this business back in the 1980s, there was no data on the child expenditures. There were data on household expenditures. And so they needed to find a way to go from available data for the household to that which it applies to the child.
Did the IE method look at single parents with children?
No, they did not. They only looked at married households.
What about the USDA method?
They only look at married households, but yet they're charging it as if it's single households. It just shows you the inconsistency and the wickedness that they're doing. Okay.
Did they look at single parents?
Yes, they did. They did look at single parents as well as married parents.
And did you look at single parents?
Yes, I did.
Because one could argue that the single parent with a child is the more relevant economic situation than the married or the couple with or without children.
That's exactly right. The cost of raising a child or children in a single-headed household are slightly greater than on average than those in a married household.
You're basically saying that people spend less on children than these other methods estimate they spend on children.
Yes, substantially less. And the reason is because our method is limited to out-of-pocket expenditures, direct real money. What the other methods do is attribute expenditures to children which are not made out of pocket. It's a fiction.
Well, let's take a look at the costs estimated by the IE and USDA methods and compare them to the costs measured by Dr. Komenor's method. For married households, the IE method overestimated the cost of raising a child by about 200%, and the USDA method overestimated the cost by roughly 300%.
Can I pause it a minute so we can look at these numbers? So you see, it says married household, right? And this is from the USDA, and it tells you right here over the years and how it increases. Decreases, it goes down. The money goes up, and everything else goes down.
The overestimates were even more extreme for single-parent households. While the IE method did not even look at single-parent households, the USDA method overestimated expenses by over 300% for low-income households and over 400% for mid to high-income households. These overestimates have been misleading the states into setting child support awards that are too high, by somewhere between $400 and $800 per month per child. Over the course of a child's dependency, that could amount to nearly $100,000 per child of unsupported costs for low-income families and nearly $200,000 per child of unsupported costs for middle-income families. This begs the question of whether the $120 billion of unpaid child support in the United States today is due to parents' unwillingness to make child support payments, or are the amounts so high that they cannot afford to make them? Essentially, there's a profit in being a custodial parent.
That's exactly right. That's what the current child support system does.
Do you think that this profit factor that exists in the guidelines now can cause non-optimal behavior?
The child support system to work effectively, it must have the agreement of both parents, not only the recipient, but the payer. And the payers recognize that the amount of money that they're obligated to pay exceeds the actual expenditures on the child. They know that. They live it. And so what the payers are funding is not merely the cost of raising their children, but also a financial asset which benefits the recipient. And of course, that creates discord between the parents. The payer objects, and the recipient feels entitled to it, which would not be true if the child support award amounts truly reflected the out-of-pocket costs of raising children.
And is there a venue where this discord gets played out?
In the courts, in divorce courts.
This is one of the most contentious areas of family law.
Can you pause for a second? Mm-hmm. I want to read what Brother Xavier posted. I like that. This is Isaiah 52:3. He says, "For thus saith Yahweh, you have sold yourselves for naught, and you shall be redeemed without money." And basically, you know, this is. I've been looking at the stick figures that they've been using, the cartoons, and the different people that represent the disparity with child support. And if you notice, they don't show the true reflection of who's affected, right? They don't show our people.
Nope.
You know, they don't show our people being incarcerated. They don't show all that stuff. That's the sad part. And this is why, if anything should really make a difference, brethren, and there's not a whole lot of us, usually on the Friday Night Live, usually on Shabbat, we have twice, 3 times the amount of people. But the thing is that the message got to go out. The Torah is essential for the family structure. If we don't have the Torah, we don't have a family. It's run by the government. It's run, your ideology, that's government. Church is government, right? There's only one way to keep in the family sound, and that's a Torah. Because it puts the spirit of the Most High, it puts sympathy, empathy, compassion, mercy, grace. All these things are factored in, because you have to love your neighbors yourself. If a man mistreats his wife, there are consequences for that, right? If a woman mistreats her husband, there are consequences for that. The Most High has a system in place that's perfect. And this is why, Mishpachah, I can't wait for the kingdom to come. This thing got to stop.
Yep. All right, let's look at our second video over here for this section here. Again, fair use, fair use. This one here is 6 minutes. Okay. This is the gentleman that we played last week. He was being interviewed by that lady. Now he's just going to talk about some things on his own podcast.
If you're a guy and, you know, you end up in the child support system, the amount that you pay to the first mother, if you have kids with more women, since if your income is the same, when the child support comes after you for the other kids, it's going to modify the first order to a lesser amount. So all the moms, with every mom that's added, the child support amounts for each individual kid just goes down and down and down. You're still paying a large amount of your paycheck, but it just ends up being a smaller amount for all the moms.
So let's say that you have to pay, let's say the child's lifespan, you have to pay $100,000, for example, and you was paying, say, $100 for this first child. Then you have a second child. They take that payment, they cut it down. You pay $50 for the first and $50 for the second. But that $100,000 that you're supposed to pay, you still have to pay. So that's going to add on more in the back end for you. But basically, is how they're doing it. So they're creating more of a problem for you, one. And then two, they're creating more issues between you and the mother, because now the mother's going to like, well, I ain't getting what I used to get because this other child coming in, and you're going back and forth. So they know what they're doing.
Comes around. It really reminds me of this kind of infamous case we had in the child support agency I used to work at. And I became a trainer, and there was this case that was so infamous that we'd had to show it to all the new hires. Basically, it was one guy, and he had like 15 separate cases. So there was like 15 separate women that this guy got pregnant. And he owed, like, he had so many different child support orders for all these kids, but all of the amounts were like $60, $50, $40, $114. And the reason was because he just had like a normal job, so the courts have to figure out, how do we divvy up this normal salary amongst, it was more than 15 kids, because some of the ladies he had more than one child with, and it just ends up getting split like that. Now, that being said, it's not like, it's no kind of answer, because you're still screwed by the system. I mean, this guy owed so much back pay. There was no way he can pay all this. But I used to call it going nuclear. It's like if a guy was mad at the system or something, you can kind of try to outdo the system by then being like, oh, yeah, well, I'm just going to have a bunch of kids then. Come deal with that. What's funny is that every time like this case got sent to court, so every time there's like a new order added, the other like 14 cases had to get modified. So sometimes all the moms would have to show up to court together because they would try to schedule that case on the same day.
Just imagine
war. That's war.
Just imagine that.
Not so in Israel. Not so in Israel, brother Shane. Not so in Israel. In ancient times, you don't have that kind of system. You know what I mean? You don't have that kind of system. So what do you do? What do you do when you have a bunch of sheep that has to be fed? I mean, there's a big pasture, green grass everywhere. There's water. You don't take the river and modify it so you can, if it's under your umbrella, everything is taken care of. Everyone is taken care of. But these court systems, they're trying to play God.
Yep. Well, let's continue.
So they can just get it figured all out at once. And I remember some of my coworkers, like, they even had to go across the street to the courthouse because they're like, we got to see what this guy looks like. And they're women, of course, So I asked them, I was like, what do you look like? And they're just like, oh, he wasn't special. They're just super hating on the guy. It's this guy, and he's like, I have this many kids with this many baby mamas, and I only pay like $300 a month. What coach is trying to figure out is, well, why is it so low? And the reason is because if child support sees you have real income, they have to use it. They can't like artificially put up the number if you have real income. If you don't have income, then what they can do is assign full-time minimum wage to you. And, even if it's full-time minimum wage, then they have to divvy it up between the cases. But I'd see a lot of guys who are like small business owners. And, I saw one guy, he owned a liquor store, and all he had was one blurb in the system of self-employment income for the past year. And it said for the whole year from owning this liquor store is only $12,000. So that child support amount came to like, I think it was like $160 a month or something. That guy, he never talked to us. He was smart. And this guy clearly is in the same situation because he just probably has like a little bit of money that's shown, and then the courts are forced to use that. Typically, that's what the guideline. So if you look at how the child support allots, like if there's multiple kids, the oldest kid gets the smallest amount, and the youngest kid typically gets like the bigger chunk. It's funny because
now does that make sense? Because the younger child gets more money and the older child gets less money. Now, what does the younger child need more than the older child?
Disposable items like diapers, a lot of just basically infant meal. They're basing it upon how the welfare WIC system operates, where most mothers don't breastfeed their child. With this modern age today, everything is disposable. You don't wash the child behind. You go get wipes. You wipe everything is wipe. And all of these things is basically a trip to Walmart or to CVS or some place to get items. Seneca says, and they expect the older children to be in the school system. Yeah.
Daycare. Yep.
Like it's only less for him because he doesn't have that much income. But for any guy, like if you have like a legit job on the table, you work for the county, you're a software engineer, just having one kid will screw you over, and even if you have multiple, you're still going to pay like up to like 40% of your income. This guy's lucky because he doesn't have much over the table income. So he's gotten away with being able to do this. If you look at the child support system, it was really originally created to deal with, for lack of a better term, folks who were more poor. You know what I mean? And prior to child support system, there were laws that, I mean, you could almost call them poor laws. And there was this separation between like private family law, which dealt with, couples who were married. And, if they were getting a divorce, it would be seen by a court and the court would figure that out to whatever was appropriate to the situation. But as single mothers started to rise and there started to be more out of wedlock births, the federal government created this standardized system that was meant to deal with this problem of all these kids being born out of wedlock. However, as child support became more powerful in the mid 90s, especially, what you saw was this sort of public system of poor laws, which was meant for very.
Pause it real quick. You see the picture over here? When did this take place?
90s.
Just in the 90s, okay?
Specific situations become so big that it encroaches on the middle class, on the upper class. And so now if you're a celebrity and you go to court, all her lawyer has to do, or his lawyer, if you're a Britney Spears, right, is say, well, we just want guideline support. And when they say guideline support, they just mean we want what the federal government, their system, instead of those two agreeing to something that's going to work. You know what I mean? So this federal public system has made it so men who are more wealthier and work harder in society are in fact punished way harder by the system, because the system was never designed to deal with them, but it now applies to them. The system was designed to deal with guys like we saw in the video who have like 4 or 5 kids and they're just out doing whatever they want. But those guys really made it terrible for everybody. And then when it comes to those guys, they do a bad job of collecting. Anyways, guys, thanks for.
All right, so that's that video. Let's continue. Let me stop this here. All right, I hope everyone is learning something tonight. All right, accountability. I'm gonna read this here. Accountability regulations for child support money vary by country and state. Country and state. In some jurisdictions, such as Australia, child support recipients are trusted to use support payments in the best interest of the child, and thus are required to provide details and specific purchases.
Not required.
What?
And thus are not required.
Are not required to provide details on specific purchases. Now, if you notice the next line here, now I was talking about California. Now, California is a very interesting state because, again, this is a particular state that a lot of the laws are started there first. Practice, it's like a test. How would I put it? It's
testing ground.
Testing ground for laws, and for passing amendments and bills before pushing it out to the rest of the nation. So in California, there is no limitations, accountability, or other restrictions on how the obligee spends the child support received. It is merely presumed that the money is spent on the child. So all you're doing is paying child support, and the mother can go do whatever they want. The child can never have money or never get fed, and they don't care. Okay. Now, continue, says, however, in other jurisdictions, a child support recipient might legally be required to give specific details on how child support money is spent at the request of court or the non-custodial parent. In the United States, 10 states, which is Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Indiana, Louisiana, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Oregon, and Washington, allow courts to demand an accounting on expenses and spending from custodial parents. So you get some accountability there. Additionally, Alabama courts have authorized such accounting under certain specific circumstances. Now, the next line now is very interesting. It says, support monies collected are what often assumed to be used for the child's expenses. So again, you think that the child is getting the money, and the child's not getting the money. Such for food, clothing, and ordinary educational needs. But this is not required. Under California law, for example, child support money may be used to improve the standard of living of the custodial household, and the recipient does not have to account for how the money is spent. So if you're in California, I'm sorry for you.
Hey, real quick, that part where it says custodial household, that's heavy, because if that woman or that parent is shacked up with somebody else, you're taking care of that household. Maybe it might contain some children that is not of yours. It might be a mixed multitude, basically. Now, another thing is, is there any information, maybe this is just like on the top of my head, I'm not sure, of child support being set up to go into a trust fund for the child?
Yes, they have things where you can, and those parts are agreed on in the court system, where the parents would say, I want this money, some of the money, to go towards a trust fund or towards this or towards that.
Yeah, because to me, it would make more sense if I'm in court and I have little Johnny, you know what I mean? Little Johnny. And I know how Shaquanda is. You know, she was a partier before, and unfortunately something happened. Now she's pregnant, and I got little Johnny from this situation, and I can see the future. It'll be a nightmare, right? So, what am I supposed to do? Do I want it to go into a money hole, or can I secure something where at least if they do take some money, it has to be filtered through maybe a trust fund or something? Because the point I'm trying to make is that there must be some way to kind of like put like a dam, a retainer wall or something, to kind of keep, so that this child can have a future, because that's your seed. You want to make sure that your son or daughter is taken care of. And some of these women, not all of them, some of them will take the money and make sure that your son is taken care of. They might skim a little off the top, you know, like the mafia do, skim a little something off the top to go get their nails did and their hair done and all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Spa day. But for the most part, they will take care of the child. But there are a lot of women, the child nose is snotty. They're getting ramen noodles for dinner. They might get a cheeseburger, you know what I mean, fish sticks, and that's about it. And dirty old clothes. The mother will go to one of those Salvation Army stores, right, and get clothes. And while she's buying the latest Gucci, the child is in deplorable conditions. You know what I mean? Then they put them in the don't care facility. You know what I mean? So the child is not even taken care of. So it's crazy.
And again, just to answer that question again, that in that case, that happens in the court systems. But in the normal circumstances, when and we're talking about how the system is screwing over the households that try to look for help. In this case, when you go and says, I need some assistance, they're not going to do that. They're just going to come right for the father and garnish whatever they can garnish and go from there. So if a trustee or some kind of agreement have to happen, that has to be done in court. All right. So again, Title 4D. This is the program, and it's found under the Social Security Act. This is why they can track you, because as soon as you're born and you have a Social Security number attached to you, they look to see who's, at one point, they look to see who was on the name next to it, but now they don't do that. Is wherever the money is coming from, they go right after the person whom they can get the most money from. So it says 4D refers to the Title 4D of the Social Security Act, which requires that each state create a program to locate absent parents. So it's upon the state itself to create their own program. It's not like you go, if you're here in Florida, Georgia, or Carolina, wherever, and you move to California, New York, or Texas, or wherever, it's different. Across state lines, it's different everywhere. That's why there's so much problems. So they leave it up to the state to create the program, to find the parents, establish paternity, establish and enforce child support obligations and collect and dispute support payments. And you can see it all goes through the welfare system. So you have the Social Security Act, which they branched out and pulled out the welfare, and then from there they pull out the child support system from that. So they know exactly what they were doing, creating this web of entrapment for the families. Okay, instead of helping you, you're actually putting yourself in more debt in the long run, because you're sacrificing not only your money, you're sacrificing your health, your family. The families are broken, the relationships are skewed, everything is out of whack. So a major impetus to collection of child support in many places is recovery of welfare expenditures. Let me read it again. A major imputance to collection of child support in many places is what? The recovery of welfare expenditures. So again, they're telling you that they created a system just to recover what you ask for. So if he says, I need to put, little Johnny on some Medicare or something because I can't afford health care, I can't go to the dentist, the teeth are falling out, so I need to have your medical coverage. And yeah.
Sorry, this is basically insurance because you may not have an accident, but you're paying premiums to support everyone else that are having accidents. Now, most of these people will argue that the Most High system should not be, that the law is done away with. But the Most High had a system where the way the welfare system was set up for the Most High, the social programs that were set up, everybody was supposed to be taken care of. This is why you find the prophets Jeremiah and many of them were speaking or were actually blasting Israelites who neglect to take care of the orphans and the widows.
Yeah.
Or even Shaul talked about a woman of a certain age needs to be married. You know what I mean? If you're past a certain age and you've done X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? Then we might come in and try to help you out a little bit if you don't have anyone to take care of you. But there were, we read Acts 6, where the Grecian, the Greek Israelites, right, were neglected, whereas the homegrown was taken care of in the ministry. So the deacons were set up to make sure that funds and everything was taken care of, right? That everyone was taken care of. So we had a system. We always had a system in Israel. This is why in the book of Ruth, again, keep going back to that. First thing that they did, they said, we're going to go back to our gods, right? But in a Christian mindset, gods to them means that these were idol worshippers. No, these are Israelite women who were from that part of the world. And they went back to their Elohim. In other words, to the judges and rulers who take care of women who lost their husbands, women who need to be cared for. This is why Naomi told Ruth what to do with a near kinsman, because the laws were in place. She couldn't run up to Boaz and try to get anything from him. She went in the field first of all, and then later on, Boaz stepped up to the plate like this is. I'm a kinsman redeemer, right? So we had laws, things in place. This is why the Shalom life, this is why Jeremiah, when the Most High told Jeremiah to tell them in Babylon in captivity, build houses, right? Marry, get daughters for your sons, and sons and husbands for your daughters, and do your gardens, because that type of a setup what Israelites were doing, we didn't need to have a social security number so we can get taken care of. We didn't need all that nonsense. So my question is, before I get quiet here, is should there be a new generation or should we take steps to ensure that the new generation don't have a social security number to make sure that they're out of the system completely? Is that what we have to do now? When you get a son or daughter says, I'm not going to register, I'm not going to put this thing up, I'm just going to have a child, right? or should we get tagged? like that, financially tagged.
Well,
they can trace us and follow us like wild, like they're tracking animals or something.
There are groups out there that have been practicing that and trying to push that, and it's a tricky downfall when you go that route, because apparently we're still in captivity, and to move around, it becomes hard. Not to say that you have people out there that don't have an identity, meaning as of the government, you have a social security number, an ID, license, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there are people who try to do that and practice that, and at times the law catches up, and you have more consequences to deal with when you look at that, from that aspect. Yes, Elder, and then we're gonna continue on here.
Very short. I just want to say to the family that are listening, to the brothers and the sisters, try your best to do the best you can to stay away from all that things, because this is exactly how we call it,
child support.
This is slavery.
No, slavery.
And that is why we are living in this system. The system is not really the things that we should be in. We are not in. We don't have a law for Israel in this system. We out of that system, but we're getting penalized in this system. So all I will advise the family is to try to stay out from all these things. Find a good wife, a good husband, and live your life separate, if you can do it. Separate from that system. And unless, as long that you find yourself in that system, you're going to pay, because you're going to get punished. You're going to go into slavery. All we have to do is to stay away from everything like that. And that's the only way out. Or let us pray that the Lord come and take us quickly away from that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Pass back to email. Yeah, it's not about staying away. It's about staying in the Torah. That's the key. If we start applying the law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High is going to make a way, because again, in every captivity that we have found ourselves in, the Most High has always preserved the seed of Israel and always protected the ones that kept the law, statutes, and commandments. Yes, Ima.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom.
The honest thing I can say is that the start off is that when the person is having a child, you got to do like back in the 30s and the 40s, have a midwife, which you won't be registered in the government hospital or clinics. So you have that child on with a midwife, and things might liable to work out there to keep them out of the system. That's the only thing you can see it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If you have a system set up, meaning you have things in place where you have others around that can build the midwife setup, you have homeschooling already set up, you have the land prepared, ways you can feed your family, train and teach, and all those different things away from the system. There's a possibility those things would work. But again, we live in captivity, and once we try to go out those boundaries or those gates, the system will find their hands in there.
Unless there's some trouble that come in, then they will able to put that.
Yeah, because somebody's going to speak. Somebody's going to say something. Isn't Mr. Johnson over there? He has 10 children that and the government says what? Let's send a social worker over there. Let's send the sheriff to go knock on the door and see what's going on. So it's a tricky situation. All right. So continuing, it says, let me read it again. A resident of or custodial parent, right here, receiving public assistance as in the United States, now listen carefully, is required to assign their right to child support to the Department of Welfare before cash assistance is received. So in other words, the child becomes government property because you have to sign over that right. If you want to get assistance, You're basically signing over your parental rights to the state. This is what they're telling you. Another common requirement of welfare benefits in some jurisdictions is that the custodial parents must pursue child support from a non-custodial parent. So the parents are starting to pay rent, like they would say. Kiefer, read this for me. Deuteronomy 28, verses 32, and then verses 41.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
So the government comes in and takes what you have. So the curses doesn't only apply in the sense of slavery that that we saw in many circumstances, but it also applies with the government itself coming in and taking away what was yours. Continue.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
And again, the children grow up not understanding what's happening, and all they see is mom and dad fighting, and they're apart. So that animosity and that hate starts to build up. This is where you as a parent have every little chance you get. The praying is very, very important. The reading with the child, the praying with the child, the talking with the child, explaining everything from a young age growing up. Dad loves you, mom loves you, so forth. So as a child is growing, they can actually grow up to see, because children are not stupid. They're sponges. We all were children at some point growing up. And we can see, for those of you who grew up in that type of environment where you had a broken home and you had a mother and a father, or you never met your father, you never met your mother, but you saw what was going on. And as you start to put age on you, you start to understand a little more what is going on. Then you find yourself what? Back in the same situation, because the curses have been repeated. They're not being broken. Continue, Kiefer. Verse 41.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
And again, that's the system like we mentioned last week. We get our children, we can't enjoy them, because it's like you're having a burden. It becomes something that a bad taste in your mouth. Man, I have to pay it. I have to do all this stuff. I can't get to spend time with my child or my children. I have to do all these different things. And we can see time after time after time, it just becomes something negative.
Brother Shea,
system. Yes.
There's a special case in England, a brother that I've been dealing with for some time now, where neighbors called the child services on this brother's household, and they came in and took all his children and put them in the care of someone else. And to this day, this brother's still fighting. CPS, okay. Still fighting to get his children back. And then his wife recently had a baby, and you know what they did? They came in and took that one too. Right? So this is much deeper, and he's still fighting. He gets to see them on occasion. And this can tear, both he and his wife is still fighting to this very day to get the children back. And I don't know how the laws are in England, but the kind of stuff that he has shared with me, it can cause a man to lose their minds. Kind of like what happened with that thing with the guy who went over and dealt with the insurance guy, the head of an insurance company. You know what I mean? Where you have a system where, and people are celebrating, looking at this guy like if he did the right thing, the guy who did the crime, right? I mean, no one should go out and do stuff like that. But people have been squeezed and oppressed in a system that don't relate to them at all. You know, you have people who are very powerful. They don't live like that. They're not suffering. They're making the wars just the same. They're making the rules just the same way that a lot of them don't go to war, but they make the rules to send your children to war, to die for a country. I got a verse in Titus, if you can read that for me, please. Just a couple things here. 1 Timothy, let's see here. It's Timothy.
You said 1 Timothy?
Yeah, hang on a second.
And just let everyone know, after I play the next video, I'm gonna open up the floor again so we can talk to some more brothers and sisters on their experiences and what we're talking about in class tonight.
Yeah, it's 1 Timothy 3 and 5.
Chapter 3 and verses 5.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, read that, Keith.
For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of Elohim?
Let's read 6, Keeper.
Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride he fall into the condemnation of the devil.
There are two key things that I like to underline or highlight here, which I believe is important for men to acknowledge, right? If you don't know how to govern your own house, you're gonna find yourself having a lot of problems. First, you got to govern yourself, right? And the Bible tells us in verses 6, not a novice. There are a lot of people, and we've heard of stories where the brother Gerald said how he was in the streets and he didn't have a father to give him that instruction, and he and his mother was at odds. And sometimes we have those types of situations where brothers, they need guidance, they don't have any guidance, and so they approach this thing like novices. So if you're a novice, how can you operate or guide a home if you're a novice? A novice means inexperienced. It's like, how can you operate a 18-wheeler vehicle, right? How can you run a hospital? Manage a store, anything? If you're a novice, you need to have direction.
Yeah, they make this system so sophisticated where it's like just stepping out the door, you try to figure out how to get around all the booby traps. You're looking at all the traps. You're like, wait a minute, it's a challenge every day.
The only way you can get around that by the Osha is with the Torah.
Yeah, but as a father, as a young man, we need to look for the disciplines that we need to shape us so that we can be ready for this. And our sisters need to look for men who are disciplined. If you are trying to figure out yourself, you're not going to be much use to others. So there's a certain level of experience that is needed to avoid a lot of these scenarios. All right, that's it, Brother Shea.
Yeah, and that's why I said earlier, I says, as we're going through this class, even live now, but in the future on the rebroadcast and so forth, as the younger generation coming up, we have to be humble and learn from the older generation. Be obedient. We're not saying these things to make your life a living hell. We're trying to break those curses from happening. This is where we have to make those changes and keep the Torah. So there's a question: is there a statute of limitation on back child support? And this is in California again, the testing ground. The answer is no. There's no statute of limitation on back child support in California. This means that a parent can seek unpaid child support from a non-custodial parent at what? Any time.
Anytime.
That's just crazy. Regardless of when the child support order was issued. So like the brother said earlier, he's out of a job because of his health condition. He slipped, he fell, he hurt himself. And 2 years passed. They didn't care about that. Anytime they want, they can come and get it from you.
Well, this is California, right? So what happened to the one nation under God scenario? If you move away from California and you go to Georgia, and Georgia got different rules, or New York or wherever, why are you still obligated to fall under these rules in California?
But what they will do is, let's say the brother was living in New York City and he moved to California and he moved to Texas. It's wherever the child is where he's going to have to, those laws would apply. So if the child's in California, it don't matter if he's in New York or he moved to the island somewhere in Canada, those laws would apply to where the child is. So he's going to have to deal with that law in California. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they get you. It's where the child is where they're going to issue those laws and regulations. So the court can enforce the order until the debt is paid in full, or if the child passes away. Those are the two things that they give you. And then on this side over here, it says in California, the maximum amount of persons or wages that can be garnished for child support depends on the number of children the person is responsible for. So if you have one child, up to 60% of the person's wages can be garnished.
Use the pointer, O'Shea. Use the pointer so
Right
people
here.
follow you. Yeah, use the
One
pointer.
child, up to 60% of the person's wage. So if you make $100 and your rent is $50, and you have to pay, you have cell phone, insurance, food, and everything. By the time you look around, where are you going to survive when $60 of that $100 is gone? You only have $40 remain. You're gonna tell a landlord, "I owe you," and then you can't eat, you can't pay insurance, cell phone is gone. So what do? Move back in with mommy and daddy. And this is the trend of what's happening. Let's read Deuteronomy 20, verses 65 and 66.
And among these nations shalt thou find no ease.
You have no ease, Mr. Carr, wherever you go.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest.
You're going to be working, or running.
But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have non-assurance of life, of thy life.
Now, to all of the brothers and sisters in the chat, if you at some point felt fearful night and day, put a 1.
That's called a court appearance, Brother Shea. You just read 65 and 66 is called court appearance.
When
you got to show up to the court, you're holding.
What's going to happen, because you don't have the judge is going to have mercy and he says, okay, we'll give you 30 days or 60 days. As soon as you walk in, arrest him, lock him up 180 days, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So you don't know. You in Walmart pushing the cart and you see a police officer walking by, you turn your head down because you don't know if he's looking for you.
Yeah.
You driving your car at the stoplight, the sheriff come behind you, you're like, oh Lord, I hope he don't run my tags. I hope he don't
if you decide to jump out of the car to run because you don't want to pay child support, that's 2 shots in the back or something like that, right?
And you know what's sad though? Because I've watched a lot of cases like this here too, where they would start running and the cops would start chasing them. And this is, why are you running? Because I owe child support. Cops like, I won't even bother you for that. But it's ingrained in your mind because you're so fearful. There's no ease when you come to think about these things. All right, I'm going to play another video here. Let's look at this clip here, and it says, with Democrats in power, so this is where they were trying to push the whole Kamala thing, right? I'll take 2. So they used to call our women welfare queens. That was the nickname given to the women.
What's all the flies around her arms and stuff?
That's how they look at our people, as poor, fat, lazy people that just living off the government.
And the Cadillac dealer's right there, ready for that that queen, huh?
Because the brothers always looking at the Cadillacs. Yep, cash in one hand. All right, so I'm gonna play this video. You have a hand up. Let's take this hand first, and then we'll play the video. For Minnesota, Faha. Did I say the name correct?
Yeah, just make sure that you see is the sister Natasha is putting that in the room about jiggly arms. Okay, no brothers is making that statement. The word sister is right before the name. No brothers are making that statement about jiggly arms. You ought to come back at us saying how this and that.
I think it's Sister Faha. You have your hand up. Go ahead. You can. Is she available to speak, Rebbe?
Let me get her. Hang on a second, brother. Hang on a second. I don't know what happened here. Okay. All right, let's get her over to speak. Okay, Faha, just on mute. your microphone. Make sure there's no background noise. Do you want to say something? Yes, no? You're just stretching your hand?
Go ahead and unmute your mic if you're going to say something.
Okay, I guess she's stretching her hand. Let me get brother.
Okay, Sister Angela, hand is up.
Okay. We got a lot of folks raising their hands. Brother Gerald also want to talk. So Sister Angela first, and then Brother Gerald, you next.
What?
Okay, hold on, Brother Gerald. Just hold on.
Shalom. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, just hold on. Sister Angela, unmute.
Sorry, family, that was an error. I apologize.
Okay, let's move you out of the way. Brother Gerald, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Shalom, Miss Baka. No, I just wanted to share something that was like happening right here in my hometown.
Uh-oh.
That's dealing with like the child support issues. It's a famous rapper. He's out of Houston. His name is Trey the Truth, and his daughter has been missing since I want to say April of this year, and he's still looking for it to this day. He's been rewarded full custody of his child. The mother had took the child. She literally went underground. She went off grid. She literally went underground. So he's been on TMZ. He's been on as far as here in Houston. He's been on Channel 13 News, Channel 26 News, Channel 11 News, all putting reports out trying to get his daughter back. His daughter's name is Truth. So one thing I will say is that the playing fields are not fair. It's not fair because if he was to do the same thing that the mother of his child did, then he'll probably be hid somewhere under a cell. But she's able to take this child and literally just disappear with no repercussions. He's been on the news saying the FBI is involved. All the local authorities have been involved and things of that nature. So I just want to just bring it to our attention that it has always been since slavery times and even before that to put the man against the woman. It's divide and conquer with us, right? So yeah, I just wanted to put that in and shalom to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's a continuation of the Willie Lynch letters and all of those curses that we've been reading about in Deuteronomy 28. So we understand that everything that we see here continues and the curses continue. All right, I'm gonna play this video here now. Fair use, fair use.
Welcome to County Office, your ultimate guide to local government services and public records. Let's get started.
How long can child support freeze your bank account?
So this question is, how long can child support freeze your bank account? Okay, this is the question that was posed. Let's look and see what they say.
When you owe child support, the government can take steps to collect the debt. One of these steps includes freezing your bank account. This process is known as a bank levy. A bank levy allows the government to seize funds directly from your account to satisfy unpaid child support. The duration of a bank account freeze can vary. Generally, once your account is frozen, it can remain so until the debt is paid off or a payment arrangement is made. In some cases, state laws determine how long the freeze lasts. For example, in California, a bank levy can last up to 10 days. And during this period,
Now imagine you about to pay rent and the card declines, not working. What you call a bank? Well, sorry, we can't unfreeze your money because you have to pay the child support first. You're like, I gotta pay rent. I have the bills to pay. I'm gonna lose my car, and lights gonna be cut off. Whatever. They don't care. So those things to consider, Mishpaka.
may have limited access to your funds. It's important to act quickly if your account is frozen. You can contact the Child Support Agency to negotiate a payment plan. This may help release the freeze on your account. And if you believe the freeze is in error, you have the right to dispute it. You can request a hearing to present your case.
They're always trying to make you feel like you could dispute something, but it doesn't matter. You know, just like how YouTube would ban you and then say you could dispute it, and automatically they already know that nothing's going to be resolved. They just put that there for legal terms.
I got a question. How come when they're showing this video about freezing the account, they're not showing the real type of people that gets their account frozen? They're showing you this little background with, you know, children being taken care of and all kinds of stuff, right? You're not putting the real images together.
That's the whole point. It's like when you see these commercials with all these drugs and stuff, they paint the right picture. They show you everybody's happy. The bees are buzzing, the flowers are vibrant colors, and everybody is doing well on the medication that kills you. So they won't paint the picture here to show you who's being targeted. They're going to show the other nations all smiling and all happy.
This can sometimes result in the release of the freeze. And remember, communication with the Child Support Agency is key. Keeping up with your payments can prevent future freezes. And
all right, that's that. Let me see if there's anything else after that. That's that there. All right, so I just wanted to show that small clip. Okay, got two more videos here. Let's play this one next. Okay, let's get this one first.
Has anyone had their accounts frozen because of child support?
Put a one in the chat.
Oh my goodness.
All right, fair use, fair use.
What these Supreme Court decisions are? Well, let's start off with number one, which is Blessing versus Freestone.
Now, there's some court cases. I think this is two court cases that I pull out. There's a lot more, but just for time's sake, I just kind of highlighted these two here. And he's going to explain how these court cases work.
Stone of the child support program. And in this Supreme Court decision, it says that the states may receive federal funding when they implement or develop a Title IV-D program.
See, so right off the back, the state will receive, not me, they will receive federal funding when they implement and develop the Title IV-D program, the child support program. So for the state to get money, create this program so we can have all of these debts to pay. Okay.
Again, Title IV-D is the child support program. The result was that the Title IV-D program benefits no individual person, no children, as well as neither the custodial parent. It is just a federal program that is used to manage the overall state program.
You hear what they say? It's used just to manage the overall state program. So it doesn't benefit the child or the parents. It's a trap that they've created to destroy families.
So what are the importance of the case? Well, the justice says that the secretary is the one responsible for the system-wide performance of the state's child support program. And therefore, any benefit that's received by either the mother or the child is just incidental. It's not important. So this is decision in Blessing versus Freestone.
Incidental. Imagine that. You pay out, you end up paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and only a certain percentage goes to the child when it goes through the state. The rest goes to these people's pockets.
So let's move to number two. This one is called United States versus Sage, and that is 92 3D 101 in the Second Circuit in 1996. The issue, the Child Support Recovery Act is invalid because it goes beyond the constitutional power of Congress to enact. That was the issue. The result of this Supreme Court case, it says the child support agreements are equivalent to interstate commercial contracts and rejects the idea that child support payment obligation are somehow different. They're no different than student loans or a car note. So basically, the child support program is nothing more than an interstate contract.
Interstate contracts. So that's how they get you. You don't know these things when you're going to seek help, because yes, some circumstances, and again, they will put the smallest circumstance for the majority, where you have an injury, so the person who gets injured can't work at the moment. So the mother goes and says, you know what, let me get some assistance from the state. And she goes down there and, yeah, my name is so-and-so, and I have 2 children, and this is my address, and blah, blah, blah. My income, my husband is not working, blah, blah. 2 months later, he gets a letter, child support. You're like, why are you asking for some help? Because he couldn't work because he injured himself. It's in the contract. They never tell you those things.
Are we supposed to now learn interstate law? Like you have maritime law and different types of laws. I mean, because if it's treated as such, then perhaps we may have to start looking at some of these things. It's just so much work that has to go in just to live a life. And all you want to do is just live a life like anybody else. And all these things are just strangleholds on people.
Brother Pincus, that's a good point about the immigration part of it, because that's why a lot of the borders were opened to bring in these families, because the more children you can get, the state gets more money, because they're going to separate them from their families. It's all about how strategically can I get money to put in the pockets of the senators and the different people, leaders in charge to fund their agendas and whatever they're doing. So these are ways, when you get into politics, that's why it's called politics, because they will find ways to make money illegally against the hardworking people. And they create these back doors and shortcuts. So when you're thinking you're getting help over here, they're actually stiffing you behind the back. And you're like, I just needed help with this. Why do I have to pay all of this back? And remember, they said it was given, when they had the whole pandemic, they was giving out free, so-called hush money or free money, right? No, sir. People have to pay all that back in taxes. People think it's free money.
So here's the importance. States that have the Tough or D program, they can expand it across the state territories to demand payments from parents who are labeled obligors. Now, I make a note, who are labeled obligors.
Are you labeled an obligor? You're obligated because you are tied to the system, not because you're the father. Because sometimes you as the father would get dinged for it, and then they'll add some other children on. You're like, I only have 1 child. How I have 15? Where did all these names come from?
Not from fathers. This is very important. So because of the interstate flavor or condition of the contracts, as you know, Congress has the authority to regulate interstate commerce. Child support falls under that criteria as well. Now, as a result of that decision, many states, this is the 2019 wage garnishment program under 45 CFR 32, you have Texas making $4.35 billion and California.
Pause it a minute. You see these numbers that they're making off of child support? 4.35 what? Billion.
Mm-hmm. Let's just send that to Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
They sent it to Israel and Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
And now they're sending another billion to the Amazon.
And the children and the father and mother in my district on the tent or trying to get shelter. No food, nothing.
California, 2.42 billion. This is as of 2019. We're in 2024. We're going to 2025, the heathen's year. So I imagine those numbers have increased. Okay. New York, Ohio, Florida. So you can see this trickle down. And I'm sure there's some states between here that are also high.
California, 2.4 billion, New York, 1.7, Ohio, 1.5, as well as Florida, 1.5. So states have racked up immense, what is called garnishment, and they're enjoying that windfall.
Yes, Mishpachah, these people are wicked. Let's look at this other video before we move on. Fair use, fair use. I think this one is in Detroit. Brother Yohanan, this happened on the neck of your woods over there.
Information in a story first exposed about the state ordering a Detroit man to pay child support for a kid that everybody agrees isn't his.
As 7 Action News reporter Kim Russell tells us, the court has made him a wanted man until he pays up.
When I exposed this story, I thought someone, a friend of the court, would fix a clear injustice. Instead, a warrant has now been issued for Carnell Alexander's arrest.
Oh, no.
For him, it's deja vu. In 1991, during a traffic stop, Carnell Alexander got a shock. Police arrested him. His crime? Being a deadbeat dad.
And that's what happened to a lot of the brothers. Just going to work. And, every time you step out the door, you got to say those prayers, brothers, because you don't know if you're coming back home. It's just that bad, okay?
I knew I didn't have a child, so I was kind of blown back.
He told 7 Action News he would later learn this happened because his ex needed help.
I had to turn to welfare to get assistance to take care of them, and I had to put him down as the father. That was the only way I can get assistance.
That started a paternity case. A process server then turned in this paper saying Carnell had been notified at a house in Highland Park. So when he didn't show up at court, he was legally listed as dad. The problem? Carnell didn't get notified. He wasn't even at a house in Highland Park. He was in prison for a crime he committed as a young man. And by the time
So imagine that he was in jail for something he did when he was younger. And the young ladies put him as the parent. the witch put that's what you said? Well, I don't know.
Woe unto man. Woe unto man.
And he's in prison. So how can you get mail that is addressed somewhere else and you in prison? Doesn't the government know that you're in prison already?
No, they don't know it when, in that sense, they know when you come out. They know when the shekels start rolling in. They know when you're trying to get a life together. That's when they know stuff.
learned about the paternity case, judges told him it was too late. Legally, he owes the state more than $30,000 for assistance paid to care for a child.
I did not father, that I did not biologically create or spend any time with throughout my life. I find that very unfair.
Carnell says he won't pay. He tells me tomorrow he will turn himself in.
I will go to jail if I have to because I'm tired of the situation of the mishandling of the case.
I got a question.
Murray Davis.
Shouldn't the state be liable for receiving, just like mail fraud? Like the woman put this guy down, which she lied about him being the father. That itself should be a legal matter, right? And then with the state taking her thing before investigating it, that should also be an issue. Racketeering, thank you, an issue for lawsuit.
Yeah,
she and the state should be sued.
They won't do that. They won't do that, Rebbe. Brother Jag, it doesn't matter where you go on this earth. You go to Africa, you find the same thing. Any brothers in Africa over there can...
Brother Kin, let Brother Kin or whoever, I mean...
And
that's what I asked from the beginning. Do you have any brothers that can vouch? I mean, is it different in Africa? Because you might see a migration heading to Africa pretty soon. But unfortunately, you're not going to Africa by boat. You got to go through Homeland Security. You got to go through the airport, right? And
customs.
Customs. By the time you go to the line, they can snatch you up from there too, right?
From the back room, you get extradited into a small little van and back to the city. You're like, damn.
They might think that they're moving Al Qaeda around to snatch you up in a van, and boy,
you look like the guy that says shoot the dude Louis G.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, walking around with chains. Let's finish this video and then we'll go to the next slide that's going to cover the other places on this globe here. So let's finish this video here.
The National Family Justice Association says there are thousands of men in Carnell Alexander's shoes because Michigan does not have paternity fraud laws that protect men.
Michigan does not recognize paternity fraud in the sense that a person who has been found not to be the father is relieved of those obligations.
I did reach out to friend of the court and was told that they cannot comment on open and active cases. Carnell, in the meantime, plans to go to court and turn himself in tomorrow with his attorney, who hopes to convince a judge to let him go free. We'll let you know what happens. Kim Russell, 7 Action News.
All right.
Berta Johanan, did you hear about this case over there? Because this is a while back. Since you live in Michigan area, Detroit, I don't know if you ever heard of that case. All right, let's move on to the next slide here. All right, Deuteronomy 28 verses 45 and verse 46. Let's read that.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed.
Till you be destroyed.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So brothers, here's the fix, and we can talk about this coming to the end of the class. Here's the fix to this problem, all that we all find ourselves in. The Most High always gives us the solution to the problem. It's up to us to want to have that life, okay? Because it says here, because we did not keep the law, statutes, and commandments, what? We find ourselves, as criminals. And then it says it trickles down and continues to the seed, the next generation, and the next generation, and the next generation. Read Deuteronomy 30 and verse 19.
I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, and I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both you and thy seed may live.
So the Most High is saying, if you want to live, choose keeping the Torah, because it says, children obey your parents in Yahuwah, for it's right? Honor your father and your mother. And it tells you, it will give you what? Long life and what? Peace, health, safety, all these good things that's going to occur. That's if we keep the commandments. But the problem is, since that cycle has been there, it has not been broken. So therefore, it just continues throughout all the different generations. Okay. Now let's look at some cases here for a moment. Nick Cannon. All right, Keith, I'm gonna have you just read a little bit of this here. The Nick Cannon, 250,000 monthly. Imagine that. If he didn't make that money, because you remember the guy said about having the lavish lifestyle, because if they once upon a time lived that, they have to continue that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
After the son speculated on how much Nick Cannon pays in child support for his children in 2022, the dad of 12 revealed that he doesn't formally pay child support. Instead, he has private agreements with the mothers of his children. While the publication postulated that Cannon pays around $3 million annually in support for his children, the Mass Singer host told the Neighborhood Talk, I definitely spend a lot more than that on my children annually. I don't plan to ever have to participate in the government system of child support. That means Cannon forks out at least $250,000 per month in costs directly supporting his children. 2023, he insisted that what his children need, they get.
And that's just that's just because of status. Let's just look over here at Mr. West over here.
Per court documents obtained by TMZ, Kanye West was ordered to pay Kim Kardashian a whooping $200,000 per month in child support for their 4 children. Additionally, the controversial rapper is responsible for 50% of the children's medical, educational, and security expenses.
So on top of that, he has to pay that stuff. The baseball player, Alex Rodriguez, I'll read this here. Upon his divorce from Cynthia Skirts.
Hey, hold on, Brother O'Shea.
Uh-huh.
Brother Barry put a nice little comment there when Kim Kardashian name came up, right?
Yeah,
she's a millionaire.
Yeah.
So child support is to ensure that the child gets the food, shelter, clothing, school, whatever. That's the basis of that. You have a mother who already have the means to do all of that, right? I mean, so what is the money from the father for then? Because the bottom line is, if I'm trying to find where to get this money. If a person got 10 children, as was said before, the money is reduced and distributed accordingly. The oldest one get less money, the youngest one get more, right? So is an issue about getting the funds necessary to take care of all of these needy children. So if the children are needy, they need shoes, clothes, whatever the case may be. Why is it that when a parent already have that you're still going after the other parent, whether it's a husband or wife, or male or female? Why do you still need to go after that other parent when the needs are being met? Right? Does it make any sense? And that's right, Brother Gerald. It's all about control.
So it's all about that money, like I was saying from before, because the states know they'll get all this money coming to them. So when you live in the lavish lifestyle in these states, this is what they do. They attack the rich from our people even more. Yes, Ema. Ema, the mic.
What I'm saying there is that whether you're rich or whether
you're poor,
you still have the same slavery on you. The only thing that you can handle more money, but all is in the same boat. So,
and of course, we all ask the question: why do you have to pay this much amount of money? Because the system has designed it that way, just to have the income. Because you're living this lifestyle, that means you have to pay this lifestyle, and this is where a lot of the problems that we find with the fathers now saying, "I don't want to have to deal with that." And we see the baseball player here. We see the actor on this side over here. Another baseball coach, even Halle Berry. She has to pay child support too. Yeah. I just wanted to show you that it happens, okay? The system is designed that way for a particular reason. All right, let's look at another video here. It's our last video for the night. This is an interesting one for the celebrities. There's a lot more, and then I'm gonna open the floor again to see who wants to comment on anything before we go to our final slides. All right, fair use, fair use.
Tyrese Gibson, talented actor, incredible singer, on the A-list. And let's hope he has A-list money. He indicates he does, because the superstar has been ordered to pay $636,000, so much of it in child support. Here's what's going on inside a Georgia courtroom. Last month, the singer, Fast and Furious actor Tyrese Gibson was ordered to pay nearly $650,000 as a result of a tumultuous court battle with his ex-wife. An Atlanta judge ruled the voluntary child support payment, voluntary, of $2,236 the star had been making to his ex, Samantha Lee, for some 2 years, simply wasn't enough for their 3-year-old daughter. Judge Kevin Farmer increased the support order to $10,690.
Now, I pause it for a second because we see how wicked the system is. You're already paying $2,000 voluntary. So you know what? I'm gonna give you $2,000 every month to take care of, my baby. Make sure she have diapers, food, clothing, and she have to go to the doctor. That should cover everything. Judge says, nope, I want you to pay more, triple that, not double, more. Do we find that to say that's justice, Mishpachah? Or that's wickedness?
In line with another child support order out of California, which covered the actor's older daughter. He ordered the Fast and Furious star to pay that increased amount retroactively plus interest, totaling more than $230,000. Judge Farmer also ordered Gibson must cover $399,000 of Samantha Lee Gibson's legal fees. And it's the legal fees that have been a huge contention for the superstar. As the couple's prenup indicates, they would each be responsible for their own legal bills. Show you video of Tyrese inside the courtroom last month.
And we also...
Now, he's going to ask a question, which makes sense. So let's listen to this question.
We're hoping to accomplish shedding light on Samantha Gibson making well over $100,000 a year outside of what I make per year, and the necessary needs of the actual child are beyond met.
So he's basically asking the judge. She's already making over $100,000, and the child's needs is already been met. Why do I have to pay all of this money? And that's a just question. Say, Kiefer, say it.
It has nothing to do with what she's making. She is none of your business. That's what the judge told me.
That's what the judge tell you, right? Yep. It has nothing to do with you. She make her money, you make your money. It comes from your money. Yep. All right.
I understand. And you're aware that if you pay these amounts and then the Court of Appeals reverses it, you don't get your money back.
I am well aware.
All right. Do you want the court to consider you paying it into a bond so that in the event, whatever the court rules, no one is prejudiced?
I would want to know more about what this means as far as a bond, but if I could position myself to show any intentionality to do that, if that's the final outcome, then I'll take care of it. But doing something that is beyond the scope of the law, it feels like punishment. It feels like it's just unnecessary. And if the roles were reversed, I just really feel like I wouldn't be sitting here.
Superstar actor on the A-list with the #1 movie out right now, Fast and Furious. Tyrese Gibson says this is unfair. Per a previous ruling, the Sweet Lady singer balked at the $10,000 plus monthly amount in child support. He argued the $2,000 plus amount was in line with the Georgia child support calculator, telling the judge that his ex-wife makes good money on her own and that anything more was an excessive amount. Yesterday, in front of the same judge, Gibson's attorney, Tanya Mitchell Graham, detailed the errors in the previous ruling. Graham is no stranger to celebrity clients. She scored wins for superstars Ludacris, Usher, others. But Judge Farmer held firm. His previous decision stands. Attorney Graham says they plan to appeal as soon as the judge's order has been submitted. They've already filed a motion for a new trial. Gibson, some say, isn't helping his cause by speaking freely on social media.
Yes, so Natasha, there's a child support calculator. The system covers all their bases. So they can, just like Rebbe was saying, you go to school and you try to figure out how do you get these numbers? And I call it the lottery pick, because what they do is they just pull numbers from wherever and they give you some kind of a formula and they say, yep, that's how you get it. And you're like, how do you get this? Because in their system, they know exactly how to do things unjust and unbalanced.
He's been vocal about this judge, the proceedings. His complaints include that the judge is racist and that the judge referred to his ex-wife as a bitch in chambers. The Star also posted screenshots of a separate message he says he received from an anonymous person who claimed similar behavior by this judge.
So basically, the judge is doing whatever the judge wants to do. Yep. There's a verse that says that. Okay, I'll have to find that. Mishpachah, before I move on, brothers and sisters, does anyone have anything to say or add before we start to move into the slides? Any brothers or sisters want to comment, question, or give their experience? Let's go ahead and raise your hand so Rebbe can open up the floor for you. In the meantime, I'll just pull up Deuteronomy chapter 28. We're going to look at this one first. And we're going to read verses 1 to verses 14. Okay, we have a couple of hands. Let's get the hands first.
Okay, brother Zanya, I'm going to go ahead and unmute your mic, and then we'll take brother Noah next.
Shalom, Rebbe. It's Sister Azania. It's Brother Girl's wife.
Sister,
okay.
Sorry,
Shalom.
apologies.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to elaborate on what Brother Gerald said earlier and what these judges look at when they see our brothers in front of them. Because what he didn't mention was he mentioned he got hurt and he had workers' comp. And so a lump sum payment of $15,000 was literally just made to the child and their mother. And yes, so a lump sum payment from the workers' comp, because they're all in your business. They know everything. And so we didn't even know this until the last minute. So they got a portion of the worker comp settlement that he received, and 15,000 of that went to them. Then the next day, that's when the next week, that's when he was locked up.
That's nothing new.
Right. And the judge literally sat there and told him, well, because through his lawyer, they were trying to say, well, hey, he's been making payments, and not to mention he just made a substantial lump sum payment through the workers' comp from his injury, etc. The judge literally looked at him and said, well, if you can pay that, then you should be able to pay this. That shouldn't be a problem for you. And he still did not, even after Brother Gerald, my husband, agreed, okay, well, I'll go ahead and pay this amount, because we were able to do it, just because of the workers' comp settlement. Even when he agreed and said, okay, well, I'll go ahead and pay this, like he was telling you all earlier, the judge still, and you could have tell it was just out of pure hate. I mean, just the evil in his eye. The judge still said, well, I'm still gonna go ahead and lock you up. Your wife can make the payment for you, and then we'll reconvene back here next week. And that's exactly what happened, just out of pure hate. That's just how evil and wicked these people in this system is. And it's sad. And I pray, and I thank you all for doing this lesson, because unfortunately, a lot of these things don't get talked about or taught. And we do have young men, young women growing up. And as much as we're trying to raise them up in righteousness, sometimes they may fall. Sometimes, things may happen in their lives. But if we could just warn them about these things, about these pitfalls in this wicked system. I mean, we can try as much as we can, of course, through Torah, living righteously, but we're still in the land of our captivity. So, I mean, the bottom line is that if they can just heed our warnings and not fall into these things, that would be such a blessing. And that's all I wanted to say, family. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister. An apology again for, calling your brother. Sorry.
No worries, baby.
All right. Noah. You're up.
Shalom, Rod. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Yeah, thanks for the privilege to talk. I'm Noah by name from Nigeria. Currently stay in Nigeria.
Okay.
And I'm single. But I've observed over the years of observed this kind of problem in the society as well. And it is growing steadily. Technically, the court issue of child support is in our law and system here, but is not actually being administered because there are a lot of lawbreakers here, government stuff and all. So, but defaultly we are, yeah.
No, I was going to translate for those who can't clearly hear it properly. So he's saying in over there, you said Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he says that the courts in Nigeria, they do have the same child support stuff in the courts, but it's not instituted the way it's instituted here yet.
Because there's a lot of crooked judges over there, crooked people over there. That's what he's saying. Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So, but defaultly, I observe we are still like in the Most High law, which is in the Torah, because if there's an issue in a family clan, if you're in the right clan, your clan will come in to talk to people, to talk to you, to advise. This is your responsibility as a father in your home. So it's now it's less for the individual to like choose whether it's going to eat to them. But on the enforcing side of the law on citizen is not really like that serious. And again, I was having a discussion with my brother the other time, like last night, this morning here, early in the morning here. So we are talking about this court judicial system of marriage, of why is it necessary for us to like go to court before we can marry, to place ourselves in the system of court? Because technically, if I'm going to court to marry, to tender a paper for certificate, to request a paper, there is a default mindset of definitely we are still going to come back to this court to settle based on interest of greed or selfishness. So I think there's a probability of the couple ending up in that same system back, like let's break this marriage off if it's not working. And there is a terms for reward and settlement. So it's just like a system, but the enforcing side is not really like ruling here. It's only like meant for individual just coming to settle. If you're in the right group and community, they can talk to you as a father. Even though you are not living together, you can still be responsible for your child. But it is not so compulsory. If you choose to not, they will leave you. And the mother will keep on like taking care of the children. That's the most rampant and the most stuff I've seen so far. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, brother. You said quite a lot there, and I'll just sum it up this way. So basically, brethren, I hope that many of you all understood what he's saying. If not, you can go back to the rebroadcast and re-listen to it. But he's talking about you have the family, right? The clan itself, that usually if there's issues with regards to children or family or anything like that, you have that system set in place that you can, delegate and to, resolve certain issues. But the court system is a little too lax when it comes to some of these things, but they do definitely have a system over there. So just keep that in mind. So basically, just to sum it up, it's the old ways of having the clans, which is a family structure, like uncles and aunts and just leadership that oversees the family. They're the ones who help with such things, which is how Israel's supposed to be anyway. Remember when Tamar was suspected of being on working outside of the law, which is to wait for another son of Judah. They thought that she was being breaking the law, and Judah wanted her to be burnt, right? And he said he because he's the head of that particular his clan, she was brought to the Bet Din, the court, his court, that court. And then he found that he was the one that was at fault, and he says she was more righteous than him, right? So this is very important. Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you so much. Brother Barry, you're up next.
Greetings. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Well, I have so many stories, not just from myself, but from people I know. But some people may think that this is a problem just for people who, let's say you have a baby mother or something. And that is not the case. You can be married and your spouse can go and file for child support while they are living with you. That was the case with my first wife.
Facts.
Okay. And so I filed for divorce after that. If you're going to bring the system against me, then hey, you're not my wife. All right. A lot of times also when they send out the orders to the court, they don't notify, the court does not notify you. And if you're not watching the court docket, then you don't show up to court and they send out a warrant for you in some cases. Bench warrant. There is so many scenarios where it's like being beaten down and you keep standing up. And the more you stand up, the more you get beaten down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way the child support system works. My children were supposed to come off at 8. I have 3 boys that are supposed to come off at 18. My oldest is 20 right now. I'm planning to apply next year. He'll be 21, and the youngest will be 18. But I also have a daughter with a second wife. So what they're going to do is they're going to recalculate. Right? Based on and I know my second ex-wife, she has a business and she has a really nice job, but I don't think that matters. Right? So I know I got at least 8 more years until my daughter's 18. I don't get to see my daughter. It's all about her mother wants control, and if I don't do what her mother wants, then I can't see her and I can't talk to her. Right? Same thing for the sons. The sons, I had a custody case a few years ago where my son's mother kept moving around. She would just pick up and move. So then the only recourse I have is to go to court for them to do a skip trace on her to find her, haul her into court. It's cost me lots of money.
Yeah.
And then, for example, I don't know if any of you people are familiar with the famous Judge Glanville from the YSL case. Well, he was my judge for my child custody case, and during COVID, for almost 2 years, there were only calendar calls, which means you must be present and just sit and wait. And spend $350 an hour just to sit and wait, and then just say, "Oh, you're here? Okay, I'll see you again in another 3 months." Then when it got to the point where it looked like something was going to actually be held against her, she went and made up a story that I abused my son and had me arrested. So now I had 2 cases to fight. And it's funny because when you open a custody case, the judge issues an order called a standing order, which means you're not supposed to use the law or anything to harass the other party. Right? So I'm not supposed to do it and make fake calls and stuff, and she's not supposed to do it. But they didn't hold her to that.
Yeah.
And listening to the other cases, over 100 cases were heard with Judge Glanville every calendar call. And whenever a woman would start speaking, she could say anything she wants. She could say anything about the man. But if the man should say anything to defend himself, the judge would say, "Sir, this is not a trial. Save your information for when we get to trial."
You're in
Georgia,
right, Brother Barry? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was in Fulton County. So now I've been fighting for 5 years with a criminal case against me because of my ex-wife, a false thing, and I have all kinds of information show that what she did was false. I have spent 18 years in school, getting a bachelor's and a master's. I have numerous accolades. I've never committed any crime. I've been a productive citizen. I pay my taxes, and even when dealing with both mothers, I used to run around spending 60 miles to go to gather all my children so they could all be together. They would never meet me half. There's so many things. I was never able to take them on vacation. A whole bunch of stuff. None of that matters to these people.
Because you're an Israelite. And the system, the system is against you.
Right. And with the court system, a lot of people don't know. If you should go to jail, and let's say you get on parole, you have to pay the parole officer. You don't have a job, you still have to pay the parole officer. And the parole officer is there to harass you and beat you down, wake you up out of bed, see what you're doing, what you're reading, what you're drinking, what you're eating, who is in the house while you're there.
Everything.
If someone else is in your house smoking or drinking or doing anything and you're not drinking it, you're going to jail.
They find every avenue to keep you tied to the web, or their trap of wickedness.
Right? And the other thing is, you don't have to be married. You don't have to even have a child. If someone just calls your name and says Joe Smo, he's the father, they're going to garnish your wages, and you're going to have to fight in court. And even when you prove you're not the father, you don't get no money back.
You get no refund for none of that.
Right? I have overpaid where when I was laid off a few years ago, and during the time I was laid off, I took my 401k and paid child support with it until it ran out. Then the tax man hit me over the head and said, "Hey, you shouldn't use your 401k." Right? He takes half of that plus penalty. Then
can't win, brother.
You follow what I'm saying? In order to not miss any, because I know if all you have to do is miss a month, and then they're going to suspend your license, and they're gonna put the hold on your taxes, and they are going to suspend your passport. You cannot travel.
So no Africa.
Oh, I'll tell you a little story. I think I'll be done after this because there's so much stories I could tell. First time I went to a parenting class, there was a man from Africa there, from Nigeria. He had a trucking company. He was making over $10,000 a month. So, or whatever amount it was, he had a very large child support. Maybe it was $5,000 or something a month. His trucking company lost the contracts eventually, so he could no longer pay the $5,000. So he got it recalculated to $1,000. Something happened. The mother was rich. She had businesses in Africa. She was traveling regular to Africa all the time. She used to have her boyfriends call up the man and harass him in the night and say, "Ha ha ha, I'm with your wife," that kind of stuff. After a while, he lost his mind. He said, what is he working for? All this stuff. He left and went to Africa. He went to Africa for 2 years. Things didn't work out in Africa for him.
Yeah, make the stuff up, man.
He came back. As soon as he landed at the airport, right into cuffs, straight to jail. Spent 2 years in jail. It was his brother-in-law that went to the court and begged for them to release him so that he can try and pay for his arrears. So I guess the judge listened. They let him out. While he was coming to that parenting class, he was living in his car, living in a taxi. And all of his money goes to child support. Right?
I think we all need to have like a and it's not to make fun of this, but literally it's like, you know how you go to those AA meetings and you sit down and you talk. I think you have to have this for all the men of Israel. Just sit down and AA, yeah.
Yeah.
Brother Barry, I appreciate your stories, your truth. I shouldn't say stories, your truth.
Experiences, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, brother. We're gonna move you back over on the other side.
Before you go to the next person, I wanted to read this because for some reason.
And when you're done, brother Shay, I have a few scriptures that I think it's important to read before you close up.
Yeah, this is the last slide here on that we see here, so we're gonna stop after that. But I wanted to read this. I thought I put this in the slides. I didn't. But if you go on Wikipedia, this is what you see. It says the right to child support and the responsibility of parents to provide such support have been internationally recognized. So this is why I was saying, doesn't matter where you go. This was back in 1992. The United Nations Conventions of the Rights of the Child is a binding convention signed by every member nation of the United Nations and formally ratified by all the United States. And it goes on. So this is what I'm saying. They understand this. And then if you Google it, it'll show you all of the countries that if you're a United States citizen and you owe child support and you try to go there, they can find you and they can locate you and bring you back. So they're designing this is lead up to the mark of the beast whole thing that we're getting into. But it just shows you, Ms. Pekah, and as we close out in some of these scripts that we're going to read tonight, we're going to see how to fix the problem. Okay. You want to read yours before I go, Rebbe?
Yeah. Go to Proverbs chapter 30, and I want you to go to verses 15. Okay.
Proverbs chapter 30
and 15. This is the child support system. This is the definition of it.
Red Kiefer, read that for me.
The horse leech hath two daughters.
Read it again, Kiefer.
The horse leech hath two daughters.
A horse leech, bloodsucker. Go ahead.
Hath two daughters, crying, give, give. There are three things that are never satisfied. Yea, four things say not.
All right, that's all we need from that part. Let's go a little higher up to verses. Let's go to verses 8.
Verse 8.
Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me.
Hallelujah.
Verse 9.
Lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is Yahuwah? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my Elohim in vain.
So the horse leech, which is the child support system, puts people in such a position that if you got money, you find yourself in a certain way. If you don't have money, it puts you in another bracket, right? And the end result is like you turn around and you either forget the Most High, like the hell with all of this, or you end up cursing the Most High, right? Because of how, like even Brother Barry's story, what he said and about the gentleman from Nigeria. I mean, it come to the point where you're a successful businessman And when things go south for whatever reasons, you still have the horse leech sucking the life out of you to the point where you either lose your mind, you're on a way to another country trying to get some ease of mind, and then you're thinking, you know what, let me try to get back. My mind is clear now. Pull up to Proverbs 29 verses 2. When you come back from getting your mind eased off, you take a long walk into Africa. Let me come back and try to revive the thing. Before you can even do that, they don't even wait for you to start the business back again. They snatch you up at the airport, like if you're some Taliban or something like that, Al Qaeda, snatch you up, throw you into the back of the van, and then have all these demands. Let's read verses 2, Proverbs 29 and verses 2, and then Brother Shea, you can take it from there.
Okay. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
This is our situation. You see what's going on? When you got these Gentile demonic forces, right, in authority, this is what happens to our people. Our children need to know this so that even if something doesn't work out the way you want it, why try to destroy the life of another person? Some people go to the ends of the world to make sure, if I'm in a relationship, you imagine you're a child. Yes, your mommy and your daddy were fighting, and you didn't like that so much. Why would you want to go worse, nuclear, worse than how it was for you growing up, by going to a relationship, and then if whatever sensitive issue happened, you want to turn around and just try to destroy everything, scorch earth policy. That makes no sense. You think that's going to ever end? No. It's never going to end. So that's right, so Dasha, it's this bitter, you're in a gall of bitterness that you can't let go. That's the horse leech, a bloodsucker that is destroying everything. So that's all I got to say for tonight, Brother Shea.
Okay. Yes, Mishpachah. I was even here sitting down Googling, is there a child support watch list? And it says, while there isn't a single nationwide child support watch list in traditional sense, many states do maintain lists of individuals significantly behind on child support payments, sometimes referred to as most wanted lists by the state. So, and it says these lists are typically managed at state level by child support enforcement agencies. And some states may make these lists publicly available on their websites and through other means, potentially including names and photos of individuals with significant arrears. So they make you like you're the most wanted terrorist out there. But, there is a way to fix this problem. Let's look at Deuteronomy 28. Let me pull it back up here. Deuteronomy 28. And we're going to read from verses 1 to verse 14. I'll make this a little bit bigger here. 1 to 14. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of your Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that your Elohim will set thee on high above all nations on the earth.
So when it says it shall come to pass, this is still prevalent. The words are still alive. That means if I stop from my sinful ways, my wicked ways, and I turn around and I start serving the Most High in truth and spirit and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, he says, it shall come to pass that when I keep his commandments, that the curse will be reversed. That's what it's basically saying. Continue.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim.
So listen to what the commandment is saying. Go ahead.
Blessed shalt thou be in the city,
and
blessed shalt thou be in the field.
Hallelujah.
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thine kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
So you won't feel bad to have children or to build homes or to have, life because you're keeping the commandments. Now you can say, you know what, I understand that this system is a trap. And if they come knock on the door and says, I'm going to come take you, go ahead. Because the Most High is going to be in control with all of this. It's not like your mind has been broken down with vain understanding. Now you understand it. And the Most High is going to work on your behalf. Just like Joseph. Joseph was in the prison and he became what? The second in command. Anything can happen at any point because the Most High is in control. Continue, verse 5.
Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
So you're not going to be worrying like you normally would be worrying. Man, are they going to come looking for me? Let them come because you're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments now. Go ahead.
Yours shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways.
So when they set these traps and these unjust weights and measures, it's going to come into your favor. The Most High is going to turn it around back on them. The point is we have to do our part, which is to be obedient. Okay, verses 8.
You shall command the blessings upon thee in thy storehouses and in all that thou settest thine hand unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which you are thy Elohim giveth thee.
Even in captivity. See, he's going to command that blessing on you. Because why? We are being obedient. We are doing what we're supposed to do. Just like how Jeremiah was in captivity and he says, just humble yourself. You'll be a slave and that's okay. You'll be a servant, but the Most High is going to take care of you. And what did the king do? No, I can't be a slave. I can't be a servant. And the whole thing went away. He was killed. All his sons, his children was killed because he couldn't understand and see what was going on. So if we be obedient and we start to listen, the Most High is going to work in our favor. Verses 10. Which one?
Verse 9.
Verse 9.
You shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he had sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahweh the Elohim and walk in his ways, and all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh, and they shall be afraid of thee.
They're gonna be afraid to even mess with you. They're gonna say, every time we try to do something to that guy over there or those people over there, for some reason it's not sticking. No matter what I do, they're gonna keep trying and trying and trying, and the Most High is gonna keep taking you out of those positions and putting up hedges around you. Why? Because we are turning around from becoming sinners into obedient children of Israel. Verse 11.
And you shall make thee plenteous in goods, the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, and in the land which you swear unto thy fathers to give thee. You shall open unto thee his good treasures, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
So we understand that right now we're living in a state where we are on the opposite side of this. But what I'm trying to encourage us tonight is once we start to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, we will start to end up on this side of Deuteronomy 28. We're going to start operating on the blessings versus the curses. Okay? Verses 13.
And you shall make thee the head, and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If that thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh thy Elohim, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee.
Do not go aside. Don't change and go aside. Don't start to become what you says all of these different doctrines that are out there. Don't start to follow the wide, broad way. Stick to the narrow Torah. Continue. If that thou hearken.
If that thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh Elohim, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to do to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them.
Hallelujah. Let's look at Proverbs. We almost finished, Mishpachah. Proverbs chapter 7. And let's read verses 1 and verses 2.
My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye.
So when we understand that we keep the law, statutes, and commandments, Mishpachah, we will do what? We would live. We will live. We won't be like the other scenarios where we have all these examples before us, and some of us have even experienced and still experiencing a lot of these atrocities that has been going on for years and generations. But once we start to keep the Torah, things start to change, Mishpachah. There's a big change that happens within our lives. Let's look at Tobit chapter 14 and verses 9.
But keep thou the law and the commandments, and shew thyself merciful and just, that it may go well with thee.
So all of the negative things that we have been talking about tonight, all of those wickedness that these other nations have been bearing down on us as Israelites, Most High is telling you, if we stay true to his words, things will go well with us. No matter bullets flying over our head or the situations that we find ourselves in, the Most High is going to protect his children. This is why when the devil came and talked about Job, he says, just remove the hedge from him. And the Most High says, okay, you can't touch his life. I'll remove the hedge, and see what happens. And he went through that little trial, and later on he was what?
Richer.
He became, the Most High blessed him even more. Okay, and this is what I'm trying to encourage us today. We have to stay focused. Don't let this be a distraction to your salvation, okay? Sirach 15, verses 15 to verse 17.
If thou wilt to keep the commandments and to perform acceptable faithfulness, he hath set fire and water before thee. Stretch forth thy hand unto whether thou wilt. Before a man is life and death, and whether him liketh shall be given him.
So the same thing Moses said before the children of Israel. Choose life this day. Before you there's life and death. Moses is telling you the same thing. His words has not changed. It has been there from the beginning. If we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we humble ourselves to be obedient, the Most High will fight for all of us. Okay, Judith chapter 5, verses 17, 18, and then we'll jump down to 20 and 21. Judith chapter 5, verse 17 and verse 18.
And whilst thy sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them.
So Judith is saying, this is what we talked about. He says, while they are with their Elohim, and they're not sinning with the Elohim, because the Elohim hateth iniquity. Continue.
But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore.
So the Most High is not going to fight for us and help us in this situation, because we are not keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. He won't fight our battles. Continue.
And were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies.
Verse 20 and verse 21.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation.
No, 20.
Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be an error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
So if they continue to sin, this child support system that we find ourselves in, and many other systems that they have created with their craftiness, it will destroy them. Holiday systems, all these different things that we find ourselves participating in. It says, now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against people, if you want to find a way to keep them down, make them sin against their Elohim. Make them not keep the commandments and statutes. Let them celebrate Christmas and Easter. Let them eat pork. Let them go and abort their children. Let them join sororities. Let them run around and fornicate, and let them do all kinds of crazy stuff. And there, continue.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation.
So if these people start keeping the Torah,
let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world.
So the Most High is going to fight your battles, Mishpachah. Men of Israel, we have to stay strong. Women of Israel, you have to support your men, okay? We have to be a complete family. We can't be out there fighting each other. This is where the coming back and the awakening and the coming into keeping righteousness, this is where it all starts. So once we start to find out who we are and what we're supposed to be doing, then things will start to change. But as long as we continue to be out there sinning and doing all this crazy stuff, the problems will always be there. Here's one more screenshot I want to share. When are we? Pull over here a minute. It says, why is child support so high for celebrities? Why are celebrities' child support payments so much? Okay, because their parents make a lot of money. So that's like we said before. Additionally, some states take the child's previous lifestyle into account when awarding child support in order to maintain that lifestyle. The non-custodial parent may have to shell out a few extra dollars each month. So I just wanted to add that in before we close to show you that this whole system, Mishpachah, this whole system is rigged against the children of Israel. And once we continue to wake up and grow and keep these commandments, the Most High is going to make a way. Just like how we were in Egypt and they were like, how are we going to, Pharaoh is right here and the ocean is right here. Where are we going to go? Moses says, what? Just wait and see.
I'm back and see the salvation.
Let's wait and see. Those that have the faith, wait and see. So I just wanted to share with us tonight that we have a system, death by entrapment. A lot of our brothers, you hear some of the testimonies from some of our brothers, and it's sad. And some of us are still going through this. And a lot of the younger brothers coming up may have to go through the same thing because they're not listening or paying attention. So Mishpachah, I hope we learn something where we can break these curses. And for the next generation coming, we pray that the Most High make the time short and destroy all these heathens because we are his children. Hallelujah. Elder Kifa, any last words before we close out?
Last words, I want to pray for everyone that's been going through a lot in life. We just have to pick up whatever is left. Follow these words that the Most High have given us. Even though you may start late in your walk, follow those words.
Hallelujah.
Pray and ask the Most High to guide and keep you. It's not easy, but we all pray a word will go up with a whisper and a blessing will come down. Shalom.
Shalom. Elder?
All praises to the Most High.
Oh, hold on, Ella. Before I have you sit the last, Rebbe, any last words? Because Ella's going to close out and pray.
I think Kifa said it best. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you so much, Mishpachah. You've been on for quite some time now, and I really appreciate this class. Brother Shea has brought some things out. If I have to say one thing, Mishpachah, I'll say this much. I'm really concerned about the next generation. That's my concern. I don't want our young sisters to have to grow up and to be pushed into a decision like this, either to be toxic or to create, this type of thing, or to have to be fighting just to get some support. I don't want either side is terrible. Neither do I want our young men to be raised or grow up into those kinds of relationships. The relationship that the Most High wants us to have is found in the Word. If you have any problems, forgiveness is part of the package. If you can't reconcile, you go in peace. There's no need to destroy, like Hagar misbehaved, that you're going to destroy Hagar, this one or the other. You just part ways in peace and let the Most High deal with everything. That's what I have to say in Yeshua's name.
Hallelujah. All right, Elder.
Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High. I want to thank Brother Oshe teaching tonight, and also Brother Kifa reading, and Brother Yana with the words, family. All we have to do is to walk right. That's what I have to say to you and the young ones that is coming up. I never have to go through that because my life was different from the beginning. And the Lord blessed me and bring me all the way this way. And now I can see the danger, and all of us can see it. All I can say to you, my family in this ministry, try to stay away from all this problem. Serve the Lord, get a wife that will walk with you in Torah and raise your children in Torah, and all these things will be avoided. So may the Lord bless you and keep you all tonight. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you. We praise you. We bless you for your goodness and your mercy. We thank you for the words from Brother Oshe. We pray that thou may bless him. Bless Brother Yana likewise. Bless Brother Kifa as he read. Continue to bless us, all of us together as a family, that all of us will keep Torah and walk right. So when Yeshua shall come, we all will have a place in his kingdom. This we ask in Yeshua's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
That the words of our mouth
and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. Oh yeah, our strength and our Redeemer. One quick thing, Rebbe, Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah is coming up. We can
send out a notice to everyone. It is coming, and we're gonna have a week of going through different things. Special treat, we have some brothers who will be bringing something to the table with regards to the Greek influence that has affected us. I don't know what they're going to be bringing yet, but they're working on some things. So we're looking forward to having something refreshing. Whatever it is, every word of the Most High is good and will not return void. So we look forward to that. Stay tuned. We're going to send out the email pretty soon so we can come together for the week and just get into the word. Shalom, Mishpachah. Love you all.
Shalom, Mishpachah. Shalom.